NBC News Radio, Chicago.
A 15-year-old Des Plaines boy has died 2 days after being shot in the face by a 10-year-old sibling. Police say they're investigating what they're calling a tragic accident that ended in the teen's death at Advocate Lutheran General Hospital. Authorities are investigating an apparent murder-suicide involving a married couple in Woodridge. Police say Shedrick Pryor shot and killed his pregnant wife, April, before turning the gun on himself. Officials at the Hines Veterans Administration Hospital say they've addressed the finding of cockroaches in food prep areas and on serving trays actually handed to patients. The VA Inspector General last year found the problem was persistent, and hospital leadership knew about the unsanitary conditions and never resolved the problem. Protesters demanding a higher minimum wage will be marching through suburban Oak Brook this morning. Jory Boulevard will be shut down from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. to accommodate the planned demonstration. 15-year-old suburban Chicago student expelled for taking part in a scheme to hack into the school's grading system is back in class. Tribune reporting the sophomore at Glenbrook North High filed suit against the school board, saying he only played a marginal role in the scheme. Cook County Circuit Judge Thomas Allen granted a request by the student's attorney this month to stop the disciplinary actions until further order of the court in order the student be allowed to return to school. Judge also set an August hearing date to consider the student's claims that the punishment was unreasonable. John Lester went the distance. Cubs down the Giants 4-1 at Wrigley Field. Schwarber, Hayward, and Rizzo all homered. Jake Lamb, a 2-run bomb in a 3-run first inning, and the Diamondbacks then hold on for a 5-4 win over the White Sox in Arizona. Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera, Todd Frazier all went deep for the Sox. The news, a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today. Just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 5:06 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
When news breaks,
there was absolute panic.
I heard a loud bang, which sounded like a train crash or maybe very loud thunderstorm.
only one station in Chicago has you covered.
It appears to be, again, an act of Muslim terror in Europe.
Breaking news.
Pro-Islamic State social media accounts called upon followers to quote unquote hunt your prey.
Opinion.
It's heartbreaking because so many people this morning are looking for their loved ones.
Insight.
Evil losers.
This is AM 560, The Answer.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
5:08, let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. In Barrington, 59 remains shut down due to a crash and oil spill which happened yesterday afternoon. The closure currently is between Dundee and Barrington Road. This is supposed to reopen sometime today. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, we've got crashes due to the conditions. There have been a number of them during the overnight hours. Right now on the Kennedy outbound at Irving Park, just had a crash reported. Also one on the inbound Stevenson at Cicero. Looks like a car smacked the wall there. Eastbound I-80 on the ramp to northbound I-57, there's a rollover crash. Vehicles completely overturned. While safe time and following distance this morning, traffic is a service of Geico Chicago. Hey, Chicago, Geico now has even more ways to save you money. Your local Geico agent is ready to deliver the personal service you need with the savings you love. Call 773-582-AUTO. That's 773-582-AUTO for your local Geico agent. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, and cool with a brief shower or two. High 64. A brief evening shower or two. Otherwise, tonight, mostly cloudy with a low 51. Clouds tomorrow will break for some sun with a high 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Hope the rain holds off so Northwestern's Wildcats women's golf team can win a national championship up at Rich Harvest Farms today. We'll try to part the clouds for them. 53 in rain right now, though. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and just updating the Manchester bombing information that became available after our show yesterday. The bomber identified by British authorities. Apparently his family turned him in.
Good.
Right. He had traveled to Libya within the in Libyan descent, traveled to Libya within the last year. One of multiple countries he had visited. There were definitive connections to Al-Qaeda. There could have been connections to other groups. Of course, we reported yesterday ISIS claimed responsibility for the bombing. And he was on the on the radar of British intelligence. But they didn't believe that he would commit a terrorist act.
Right. And that's the atrocity of all of it, is that they could have stopped him. And his imam, they went to the mosque where he used to worship, and he said that the imam once said one Sunday, or one of the days on Saturday that we prayed, I said, they prayed against radicals. They said, please soften the hearts of those terrorists, those who want to hurt the innocent. And he actually got mad and yelled at the imam after the sermon and stormed out. But the imam didn't do anything about it. He just saw he didn't like what I had to say, so he left it there. Well, instead of contacting authorities.
But here's the thing. It's a fair point you raise that maybe the authorities need to be apprised of these things because it may change their assessment. Yeah. Right? But one of the other questions about these sorts of terrorist attacks is just the process by which law enforcement and the intelligence community make these assessments and how they change. Obviously, every individual is different. Every fact pattern is different. The context is different. But is there some protocol that they go through with each of the suspects when you're trying to surveil or keep track of 3,500 identified suspected terrorists in the UK, for example, in this country, 50 investigations in all 50 states by the FBI. And we'll talk at the top of the 6 o'clock hour to Colonel Cedric Layton, who's a intelligence expert and security consultant, to help fill in the blanks on this question I'm raising. But it seems to me if we're going to do anything productive out of these horrific terrorist attacks, it would be a little bit of self-examination, and I assume that happens in the intelligence community and law enforcement with each case to get better at prognosticating, to get better at information gathering. But it would be interesting to understand what processes and protocols they go through and how those potentially could be enhanced. Is there something that we could be doing in this country within the bounds of our constitutional liberties that we're not doing?
Right. And he also lived in this neighborhood that is known to recruit ISIS members. That's how they described it, a hotbed for ISIS recruiting. His brother, I believe, was the 23-year-old who was picked up at that mall. That was his brother. And then this morning we're learning
now
that
three
so that
other
makes
sense.
Right. That's why they weren't sure if it was related. They didn't want to come forward and say that it was related. And now this morning, CBS was reporting that 3 other people from that neighborhood have been taken in for questioning.
Well, and this is, even this may just be information gathering after the fact, but it's certainly a worthwhile exercise, particularly because yesterday another piece of new information was that the Brits believe they raised the terrorist, alert level to the highest, whatever that means.
Critical, first time in 10 years.
Yeah, but the bottom line, what it means is they believe they're susceptible to another attack, or they may have actionable intelligence that says another attack is being planned or is in process of being executed.
And here's Theresa May.
This morning I said that the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre, the independent organisation responsible for setting the threat level on the basis of the intelligence available, was keeping the threat level under constant review. It has now concluded, on the basis of today's investigations, that the threat level should be increased for the time being from severe to critical.
And she said, another attack is imminent. And that's what's, frightening a lot of people, obviously. But a lot of people, Ariana Grande has canceled her concert in London. It was supposed to be on Thursday. She's canceled that, and other performers, too, have canceled their concerts because they get that information. So if you have that information and you're a performer, do you put your fans' lives at risk? I mean, at 312-642-5600. Well, I mean, or if you're a parent of a child, were you going to take your kid to a concert? You take your kid to a shopping mall?
So you're never going to take your child to a shopping mall or an Ariana Grande concert or any concert ever again? I mean, come on.
For the time being, if another attack is imminent,
what's
and
the
you have
time
the Prime
being?
Minister.
It happened
6 months.
It happened. It happened at the concert hall in Paris.
Yeah, it was even more casualties.
All right, Bataclan. It happens at this Ariana Grande concert. It happens in mass transit systems.
Right, and the reason why this thug, this beast, whatever you want to call him, monster, loser, he chose the area where they're walking from the concert to the train station. That's where he chose to attack. And there's 20 people should remember too. There are 21 people in critical condition who, the death toll could vastly rise within the next 48 hours.
I normally don't cite celebrities when it comes to policy because they rarely make sense. They're uber talented in one space and they're often ignoramuses in another, but not always.
No,
not always. Morrissey. You remember Morrissey? Frontman for the Smiths?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's Manchester-born. He weighed in on this. In modern Britain, everyone seems petrified to officially say what we all say in private. Politicians tell us they are unafraid, but they are never the victims. How easy to be unafraid when one is protected from the line of fire. The people have no such protections. Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, this is Morrissey continuing, says the attack is the work of an quote-unquote extremist. An extreme of what? An extreme rabbit? Criticizing May, Morrissey went on to say that her own life is lived in a bulletproof bubble, and she evidently does not need to identify any young people today in Manchester morgues. He added that the will not break us means that the tragedy will not break her on her policies on immigration. The young people of Manchester are already broken, thanks all the same, Teresa. He also criticized London Mayor Sadiq Khan, who he had said, Morrissey, had failed to condemn the Islamic State group after it claimed responsibility for the attack. Khan did call the act, a cowardly act of terrorism and so on and so forth, but he failed to identify the extreme what that Morrissey asked in the earlier part of the statement that he posted. Does he have a point? I think he's got a couple of points.
It was really well written. I mean, it was good points that he made.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information. To start your day, it's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You want to play that game? All right, there's a list of performers. Blondie, Take That, Celine Dion, Guns N' Roses, Phil Collins. Who's canceling and who's not? But first, here's your forecast. Today, it's just gross outside. It's cold. It's rainy. Bring an umbrella. Bring a jacket, that's for sure. Brief showers on and off throughout the day. A high of 62 degrees. Tonight, a brief evening shower. And tomorrow, clouds breaking for some sun finally. And a high of 67. Let's get into our alarm detection systems. Traffic Center, here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. In the Barrington area, 59 remains closed between Dundee and Barrington Road after a crash. An oil spill happened yesterday afternoon. Inbound Stevenson has delays central to Cicero. Car smacked the wall there. Quickly cleared, but it's still about a 2 or 3 minute delay. The ride's still fine. Inbound I-57 at the Bishop Ford, we're seeing the usual mild delays approaching the merge. Eastbound I-57 on the ramp to northbound, check that, eastbound I-80 on the ramp to northbound I-57. There was a rollover crash. That's being cleaned up now, and the ramp is open. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. President Trump's victory produced a plethora of leftist think pieces plotting their escape from their coastal bubbles, so they're never so blindsided again. After a 6-month probationary period, can we finally dismiss as disingenuous their intellectual curiosity? During that time, the left has written more Russian fiction than Boris Pasternak. The budding totalitarians on college campuses have attacked professors, shouted down the education secretary, and argued that white men do not enjoy First Amendment rights. In Chicago, a group of nasty women hosted an art exhibit fundraiser for Planned Parenthood featuring an anti-Trump painting stained with the vaginal blood from the artist. In Phoenix, the city used taxpayer dollars to help finance a billboard depicting Trump as a money-grubbing Nazi. Storied MIT linguistics professor Noam Chomsky claimed recently that the Republican Party is the greatest threat to mankind's survival in the history of the world. I don't see much common ground to be forged here, and frankly, I'm not terribly interested in indulging lunacy. If I'm a deplorable, then they are the unsalvageables. I say we let them stay squirreled away in their bubbles, and we pop them again in November of 2018.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-400-1841. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-400-1841. Again, that's 1-800-400-1841.
Harvey owns a building and wants to save money by making his heating and cooling system more energy efficient.
Yes?
But Harvey's afraid of the cost and if he can get a return on his investment.
I am indeed.
Plus, he's nervous about disrupting the businesses that rent space in his building. Harvey doesn't know what to do with an HVAC system that's seen better days.
The Air Comfort problem solvers to the rescue.
Working as a team, the Air Comfort professionals find simple solutions that make a huge impact on building efficiency and operating costs, with minimal or no disruptions to building operations. HVAC upgrades and retrofits from Air Comfort can save thousands of dollars per year. They save energy, reduce maintenance, and eliminate downtime. And buildings with better energy ratings command higher rents and selling prices, and make tenants happy. Get real solutions from the Air Comfort team of problem solvers. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com and start saving money today. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So a couple of important gentlemen testified before the House Intelligence Committee yesterday. Former Senator, now D&I Director Dan Coates, and Obama CIA Director John Brennan. And as to the issue of Russian collusion,
Collusion.
Yeah. Guess who popped up in the questioning of John Brennan and had the most interesting exchange? Well, Trey Gowdy, of course.
Right.
It's always Trey Gowdy.
What was up with Trey Gowdy yesterday? Trey Gowdy, did you see him?
What was up with him?
His face was a little shiny. He looked a little off. I think he got a new haircut. It's not good.
Well,
sorry. I didn't mean to get catty at 5:24.
I mean, Trey Gowdy, he's not a fashion plate, but
but
he is a pretty skilled interrogator because he apparently was a very good prosecutor in a previous life. This is the exchange between Gowdy and Brennan, part one, on the issue of, what exactly are we talking about when you say collusion or coordination? What did the CIA have that concerned you?
Did you see evidence of collusion, coordination, conspiracy between Donald Trump and Russian state actors?
I saw information and intelligence that was worthy of investigation by the Bureau to determine whether or not such cooperation or conclusion was taking place.
That doesn't help us a lot. What was the nature of the information?
As I said, Mr. Gowdy, I think this committee now has access to the type of information that I'm alluding to here. It's classified, and I'm happy to talk about it in classified session.
And that would have been directly between the candidate and Russian state actors?
That's not what I said. I'm not going to talk about any individuals.
But that was my question, and you answered it, and you didn't answer it that way.
No, I responded to your query. I'm not going to respond to particular elements of your question because I think it would be inappropriate for me to do so here. So I can only repeat what I said, which is that I was aware of intelligence and information about contacts between Russian officials and U.S. persons that raised concerns in my mind about whether or not those individuals were cooperating with the Russians either in a witting or unwitting fashion, and that served as the basis for the FBI investigation to determine whether such collusion, cooperation occurred.
Okay.
Got that? Did you have that?
Well, I mean, it's important. Trey Gowdy's setting it up to try and get some answers that resemble the English language, and so he pressed him on it. And fine, Brennan is not going to discuss classified information in open session. That's fine. The second piece of this, though, this exchange. With respect
the important
to
piece,
with
important in regards to evidence, maybe.
Well, and what Brennan knows and what he doesn't know.
There are a bunch of words that start with C floating around. I asked you about collusion, coordination, and conspiracy, and you used the word contact. And I think in a previous answer, you did a really good job of establishing that contact could be benign or not benign. So. Was it contact that you saw? Was it something more than contact? What is the nature of what you saw?
I saw interaction, and aware of interaction, that again raised questions in my mind about what was the true nature of it. But I don't know. I don't have sufficient information to make a determination whether or not such cooperation or complicity or collusion was taking place. But I know that there was a basis to have individuals pull those threads.
So, a couple of things. One, he's not going to say anything and did not say anything about President Trump himself.
No.
Number two, he contacts, which he effectively just conceded Gowdy's point that contacts could be benign or they could be not benign. And Brennan doesn't know. There were contacts that concerned him because of the prospect of Russia trying to interfere with the election. It's not the CIA's job to make determinations of guilt, so he referred the information to the FBI. And that started back in, their investigation started back in July, as we know. And now we're 10 months later, and where are we? Where are we? Do we have any more than what Brennan said yesterday? We really don't. And I think Krauthammer made a great point on Special Report yesterday about exactly what we know and what the basis of the hysteria about Russian collusion and the loose impeachment talk about Trump, where it actually comes from in part. In part, it is the press agents for big government. It is the D.C. press corps that want to take Trump out, that want to cut his term short.
Right.
And in part, it's Trump.
I don't think I've ever seen a situation where nobody can locate the crime. There are all these accusations. Collusion is thrown around all the time. We've had a year of investigations. We've had opportunity after opportunity for some official to say, here's what happened. And there's been none of that. Now, there may be. We could get an avalanche of evidence of collusion, but so far, there is none. President insists there is no there, but he acts as if the there is everywhere. And that, I think, is the origin of what's happened here.
I mean, the problem is everything Trump does, it seems like he's trying to cover up something that he doesn't need to cover up.
Because he's not a polished politician. This is his first time being in politics.
And because
he just doesn't know better.
And because he's not a disciplined communicator.
Or that too.
and particularly in this bubble, and particularly with the allied organizations that are out to take him down. There's no there has been presented, but Trump acts like the there is everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's part of the problem too, and Trump needs to own it. That his administration needs to own it, and they need to get better if they want to move people off of this topic and onto things like, I don't know, health insurance reform and tax reductions and balanced budgets and job creation.
Well, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, we'll talk about that budget, but also, too, the Pope and the President meet face-to-face, and a joke is made. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, rain in 53 in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte says the country is in a state of emergency after skirmishes with Muslim militants who attacked a southern city. Speaking to reporters after a visit to the region, Duterte repeated that he will deal with militants harshly. There have been kidnappings, including a Catholic priest. Britain sending soldiers to key sites around the country to prevent terror attacks like the one in Manchester.
It is now concluded, on the basis of today's investigations, that the threat level should be increased for the time being from severe to critical.
The terror threat level in the UK raised to its highest level after a suicide bomber killed 22 at a concert in Manchester Monday. President Donald Trump has arrived at the Quirinal Palace for a meeting with the Italian president. The meeting comes after the president's private meeting with the Pope. Here in this country, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell greets the president's budget proposal with a shrug.
So we'll be taking into account what the president's recommending, but it will not be determinative in every respect.
McConnell telling reporters that the president's budget plan will be considered as a recommendation. The roughly $4 trillion spending blueprint makes deep cuts in some social programs. Chicago Teachers Union demanding that Mayor Rahm Emanuel fire CPS CEO Forrest Claypool. The CTU announcing yesterday that its members lodged a vote of no confidence in Claypool's leadership. Allstate Arena in Rosemont beefing up security following Monday's deadly terror bombings in Manchester. Authorities investigating an apparent murder-suicide involving a married couple in Woodridge. Police say Shedrick Pryor shot and killed his pregnant wife, April, before turning the gun on himself. Cubs down the Giants 4-1. Diamondbacks over the White Sox 5-4. The news, a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service and repairs, National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 5:32 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
If you have pain, listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
5:34. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Barrington, we still have a closure of 59 in both directions between Dundee and Barrington Road after a truck crash and oil spill, which happened yesterday afternoon. The Edens is wet but free of any significant delays. Kennedy inbound, heavy Cumberland to Harlem, 21 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. On Eisenhower, slow through the avenues. It's 32 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 29. On Stevenson, heavy 355 to Lamont Road, 1st Avenue to Kedzie and State to Lakeshore Drive is 48 minutes, 355 to the drive, outbound 34. Ryan, looking at 17 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 27. Traffic is a service of Triton College. At Triton College, you'll find real quality in their modern facilities and dedicated faculty. You'll find real value in their courses that will cost you a fraction of four-year schools. At Triton College, you'll find real opportunity. Visit triton.edu today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A cloudy, breezy, and cool day ahead with a brief shower or two, high 62. Currently, rain showers and 53. Next news update at 6. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, or hear about it from your friends, find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, Trump's international tour stops in the Vatican today.
Yeah, they actually, he just met with the Pope with his lovely wife, Melania. They had a half-hour private meeting before they let the press come in for the photo op, and President Trump left by saying, you know, I'll never forget what you said to me, and thank you so much for the gift. They exchanged...
You're going to hell?
No, they exchanged books. They exchanged books. He gave him some books on Catholicism. The Pope gave the Trump. And the Trump said that he's going to actually read the books.
Oh, so Trump didn't give the Pope books on Catholicism?
No.
Okay, got it. I just want to know who gave which books.
But President Trump did give the Pope a 5-set series on Martin Luther King Jr.
He also gave him a signed copy of Crippled America, I believe.
But guess what they joked about when they first started talking? Because, you know, you want to break the conversation with a joke to lighten things up, considering, too, that they didn't have the best relationship during the campaign. He said, the Pope said to Trump, so what is Melania feeding you? Pizza? Oh, fat shaming. Oh.
On behalf of the Catholic Church, I apologize for Pope Francis for characterizing Melania as a housewife that is serving
pizza
food to her husband. That is outrageous.
But it was cute. It was a way to, break the ice, and then they got along beautifully, and it was cute. So now he's off to meet the president of Italy, and then go on to the G7 summit and all that.
Well, I'm glad.
Sounds good.
I'm glad that
they're friends now.
And that's I like a little jab from the Pope.
And on the way out,
good.
the Pope told him "Buena suerte."
Yes.
Good luck.
Good. Well, the differences of opinion on policy will continue, but that's okay. This story, local story, we got to talk about it, especially with you having Peyton and Eli. I'm fascinated on your take on this. It's a terrible, terrible story. Naperville North, 16-year-old high school student committed suicide. And the nature of the events that led to this terrible decision by this young man, I think are a bit controversial from a law enforcement perspective, meaning what the Naperville police did is controversial. So this is a story from the Tribune, so his name's been disclosed, so I'm not speaking out of school here. Corey Walgren is his name, 16 years old. He
football player, good kid, popular kid in school.
He was looking at a couple of Big Ten schools in terms of where to go to college.
University of Iowa was on the list.
Yeah, of course, sure.
What was?
You're right, it was. So what happened was Naperville police suspected that Corey, who had no criminal history, never been in trouble at school, had video on his phone of a consensual sexual encounter with a 16-year-old classmate, and that he possibly played that video for friends. So at lunchtime one day, he's called into the dean's office. There, with a police officer and the campus dean, Corey is questioned about possessing and possibly sharing child pornography. He was allegedly threatened that he'd be put on the state's sex offender registry. Then he was left alone to wait for his mother. The upshot of this, it does not appear any pornographic images were found on Corey's phone.
Yeah, what was found was audio.
Audio of the sexual encounter.
Right, so there was no video to begin with.
Police did not intend to pursue charges, according to records that were obtained by the Chicago Tribune. Stacey Sinclair wrote the story.
Yeah, she did a great job.
They indicated that they wanted to handle the matter in a way that ensured Corey understood the seriousness of his actions and how it affected his classmate.
Yeah, so they're trying to scare him. I mean, they intimidated him, they lied to him, and they're just trying to, say, you don't do this, and if you do this, this is what's going to happen. But that's not what happened. They scared him literally to death.
He leaves
with the threat of jail time and being registered as a sex offender.
He leaves the school, leaves Naperville North after the confrontation with the dean and with the police. He walks a mile to downtown Naperville, and he throws himself off the top of a parking deck.
Oh.
And what you just said, Amy, is what his mom said. They wanted to scare him straight. Instead, they scared him to death. Naperville District 203 stands by how they handle the story.
Oh, really?
How they handle the situation, excuse me.
Oh, okay.
At the outset of this incident, we worked to ensure a thorough and fair review of the facts and involve the appropriate school and law enforcement officials. Our main concern with any matter involving students is fairness, discretion, and objectivity. The school district feels confident we handled this issue appropriately and engaged the right officials pursuant to the protocols and procedures that govern student affairs. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Based on what we know, do you come down on the side of the school and the police that say they handled it appropriately, even despite the tragedy that ensued?
They have blood on their hands. I mean, they caused this.
Is that what you think?
Yeah. I mean, right. They were trying to scare him straight, but they scared him to death, as his mother, Maureen, said. And I think that they should file a wrongful death lawsuit against Naperville North and the school district, because that is not the way to handle a situation. We put these teachers in positions of power where they influence our children's lives. Our kids, every word that they say, they hang on their every word. You cannot mess around or joke around with possible pornography charges. That would ruin his life. He would never have gone to Minnesota or University of Iowa, or could have gotten kicked off the hockey team, which he was on. And he actually had a tournament that coming weekend. I mean, I'm sick at that. And then Maureen Walgreen, she did an interview too with Stacey Sinclair, an audio video, and it broke my heart. I cried watching that last night. I mean, it's just they have blood on their hands, and they need to never do this ever again.
Well,
because they had no intentions of actually charging him.
16-year-old boy exercising poor judgment, recording some sexual encounter
With his 16-year-old girlfriend, by the way.
Right, and then you're going to cast him as a potential child pornographer, as a sexual offender. The response from school officials and local police, oh, by the way, may have violated the law, in fact.
Oh, really?
Illinois law requires police to immediately make, and I'm quoting, immediately make a reasonable attempt to notify the parent, unquote, after minor is taken into custody. Unless a juvenile believes that he is free to stop the questioning and walk out of the room, he is considered to be in police custody. So that's a determination based on the facts, but, they make those threats. He probably feels he's in custody, not free to leave. Maybe he even suggested so. You sit here until your mom comes, and immediately when he's taken into custody is when the parent should be notified. His parents should have been called, said Northwestern University law professor and an attorney with the school's MacArthur Justice Center. The clear intent of the law is to give a parent the opportunity to intervene if their child is being interrogated. And the parent apparently was called after police and perhaps the school official that was also present, the dean, had interrogated or
But the thing
threatened the young man.
When she got there, they couldn't find him. And she got a pit in the bottom of her stomach and said, well, where is he? He's supposed to be in this class right now. And they're looking at their papers. Finally, okay. So then they call on the intercom to that teacher. He's not in the class because he left to go kill himself.
And I'll tell you what.
So that's another problem. That's another situation they have to deal with. He simply walked out, was shell-shocked, and walked out and walked to the 5th story of a garage in downtown Naperville and jumped.
Here's the thing. This is all because everything has been, everything is a law enforcement matter. There's no ability for adults to exercise judgment because we have these policies and procedures in place. And every policy and procedure that you put in place does not cover every situation that you are likely to encounter in life. This is why adults are in charge of schools and police departments. I'm not to say that everybody makes their own rules as they go along, but you are charged in this life with exercising judgment as an adult, particularly when you are in charge of minors or interact with minors in the case of police. Is this the best judgment in this situation, to make threats about being a registered sex offender? Or is it more appropriate to engage the young man in a different way? And then, to defend engaging him the way they did, they refer to the Student Policies and Procedures Manual. Is that persuasive? It's not to me. Greg in Oak Forest, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. You're absolutely right, Dan, about what the professor had said, that you do not approach the child and that. You just tell them they're being detained and all that, and notify the parents immediately, and you have no contact until the parent has arrived. That is protocol, and that is how it's supposed to be done.
Are you a police officer?
Yes.
Okay.
If you can say that, if they knew going into there they were not going to charge this child, then why even bother? I say take the step as far as doing this. Approach the parents, let them know what you have, and be totally honest with it, because you know you're not going to go after a charge with the child. Tell them what they have. This is what we have. Let the parent then approach the child about it.
Yeah.
Deal with that.
I'll tell you what, too. I mean, here's another question. I mean, in a bygone era, would police have ever even been called about this?
No. Well, we didn't have cell phones back then. People didn't record things.
But even so, if they recorded on a cassette recorder, would this be a matter between school and the families involved? Yeah.
You could say the same thing about what happened down in South Carolina, where the officer was called into the classroom because the teacher didn't know how to handle a child who was using their cell phone. And look what happened.
Yes.
Quite frankly, I don't think the sheriff should have just said, no, my officer's not handling that. Where's the crime there?
Yeah.
Well, they did reach
Thanks for the call, Greg.
They did reach the mom, who is a nurse, and she said, "Wait, do I need to get an attorney?" And they said, "No, you don't." Okay, and she said, "Well, I can leave in 15 minutes," and then she left for work. 45, 50 minutes later, got to the school, and he was gone.
Well, here's the other thing. I mean, to your point, if maybe this is the argument they would make. Well, he wasn't in custody; that he was free to leave because he left. There's evidence that he wasn't in custody. But you're going to say that we're considering child porn charges. You would have to be a registered sex offender for life. So he, a 16-year-old, understands everything's gone.
Everything. You're not going to college.
And then you're going to walk out and not wait for the mom to get there to apprise her of the situation and make sure that you maintain dominion over the child that you just threatened.
And by all accounts, he was a good team on the hockey team, football team. Never had anything.
I don't care if he was a bad kid. It doesn't matter if he was a bad kid. Let's just, say, I agree. That's the story. That's the Chicago Tribune story, what you're recounting. Let's say he was a bad kid. Could you defend how they handled this? I don't think so. Jim in Romeoville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning. I'm going to side with the school a little bit on this. And you're right. They used to have a thing called station adjustment, which took care of all of that. But we're in such a litigious society now that I got a feeling that the girl's family that was involved in this recording may have contacted either the school or the police, and that may have instituted the thing in the first place. He probably shouldn't have been playing the tape for his buddies either. Maybe that.
Well, we don't even know if he did.
Looking at one side of the coin.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the call, Jim. Well, one, let's say that he did. We don't know if he did. Let's say that he did. A 16-year-old boy exercised bad judgment. I concede the point. Is that the way adults handle a 16-year-old boy who exercises bad judgment in this fact situation with the facts as we know them? That's the question. Not that the 16-year-old kid who killed himself would have been better not recording a sexual encounter or having a sexual encounter for the first place, right? That's what 16-year-olds do. They make errors in judgment. That's why they're not in charge, and they're not supposed to be, right?
God, when he threw himself off the top of that parking garage, his mother was about 5 blocks away. They were looking for him. His backpack was there. His key to the house was inside the backpack, so they knew that he was somewhere on foot, walking somewhere. But he had never mental illness, anything like that. They never suspected he would do this. But they drove him to this point. Conjecture on my point.
Ed on the Southwest side.
Hi, Dan. Good morning.
Morning.
Got a question. Just like the last caller, I was thinking in the same terms, I think, as far as how did this all start? How did the school approach him? Was anybody ever mentioned as, who turned them in or why they turned them in? Because that's really where it started.
Yeah, it's not. It's the records show January 11th. So this happened a couple months ago. A female classmate told the dean that she had learned that Corey had a recording of a sexual encounter that they had shortly before Christmas and believed he had played it for friends. Police described her as mortified. That's how it started.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I didn't read the article, so I was wondering.
Yeah, sure. It's a fair question.
And why the officer said she didn't need to hire an attorney, the mom, they did ask her to sign a consent saying that they could download that audio recording.
Right. And look, and I'm not saying.
And she never did it.
I'm not saying that this matter shouldn't have been adjudicated. Right. This is a nothing. And the girl's concerns about him recording and playing this recording are not legitimate. They are legitimate. It's the question and how the matter was handled.
Mm-hmm.
Jim and Roselle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I think it's come to a point in school where these kids and the police being present in every situation where they may have to keep their mouths shut and ask for an attorney anytime they're talking to their principal or dean of discipline or student resource officer. I mean, the school's obviously worrying up over this whole situation, and they are gathering information and making a case to possibly prosecute this kid or any child. So maybe kids should keep their mouths shut anytime they're in the dean's office.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that, but I think that's what it's coming to. Lawyer up. Don't talk to police without a lawyer present. Period.
Thanks for the call, Jim. I mean, that's a sad commentary on a previous caller said, the litigiousness of our society. I don't want trial lawyers to run the country, to run society, because it won't be a free society anymore. And so this is where pushback needs to come from adults, and stop using the cop-out. Hey, we're just trying to minimize our legal exposure on advice of counsel. I used to use the on advice of counsel in grade school when I was being subject to detention.
But
It wasn't any more persuasive when I used it then than it is for these adults to use it now.
But if this family doesn't file a lawsuit, then they're going to do this to another person's son. They will. They wouldn't change their bad behavior, but they finally got called out on it.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with a 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
Hey, you hear me talk about MyPillow all the time, and so do one of my neighbors. My neighbor Mike came over, is actually borrowing one of my pillows for a week to see if he wants to buy one for himself. And so far, so good. He loves it because you can move the patented fill to give you support where you need it most, regardless of your sleep position. You will get into deep sleep faster. You will stay there longer, and no more waking up to a stiff neck or headache. And our good friend Mike Lindell makes them right here in America using only American labor. You can wash and dry your MyPillow. They're hypoallergenic, and of course, you'll get the 10-year warranty with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So for the month of May, you can still get the 50% off, half off the 4-pack, 2 premium MyPillows, 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, all for the price of 1. Get that 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit mypillow.com. That's 800-489-0201. Promo code Amy.
If your roof is needy, if your roof is leaky,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof isn't right after it's stormy and shingles are curly,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof is looking needy, call Crumweedy. This is Mark Olson of Crumweedy.
And I'm Greg Olson from Crumweedy. We are a third-generation family-run business. We've been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953.
You really can't do that unless you do really amazing roofs. We share the same conservative values as you, and we really want to do your roof. Here's what you can expect.
First, no high pressure. You make the choice. Whatever option you choose, count on getting a roof that lasts at a fair price.
You see, application is really the key. We follow the manufacturer's specifications so your warranty is intact. You know, a lot of companies don't do that, and that could really void your warranty.
No horror stories here. The roof you need that will fix your problems. When your roof is needy,
call Grumweedy.
For your needy roof, go to myroofisneedy.com. myroofisneedy.com.
5:57. Let's get an update on the roads now. Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center time. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's looking like a slow and wet commute on the inbound Kennedy. We have delays from the River Road Toll to Canfield, Austin to Central, and Division to Ohio. So it's already 25 minutes O'Hare to downtown and outbound 22. Eden's still okay. Inbound Eisenhower, delays start at Wolf Road. 40 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 32, there's a crash at Costner. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes already. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. 51 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 38 minutes to 355. Ryan is 22 minutes from 95th to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes. I-80 to the Merge. Mission 428. Traffic is a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's business credit account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
A full update and more from Fox News in a moment. After your full update from your official Chicagoland weather forecast and our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Breezy and cool with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day and night with brief showers into the evening. We'll have a high today 64, low tonight 51. Some breaks of sun tomorrow with a high 69, then becoming mostly cloudy at night, low tomorrow night 51. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
The news, a service of Staples. When it is time for help with your new technology, go to Staples. Staples has a full range of tech services to help your business, from data recovery to virus protection. Now get $50 off PC diagnostic and repair service. Ends 5/27. Service does not include parts. Staples. It's pro time. 5:59. Here are the stories we're following in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. The Allstate Arena in Rosemont is one of several arenas in the area beefing up security following Monday's deadly terror bombing in Manchester, England. City of Chicago receiving $1 million from the Cubs to pay for dozens of security cameras near Wrigley Field. 15-year-old Des Plaines boy has died 2 days after being shot in the face by a 10-year-old sibling in what police are calling a tragic incident. And miners in Brazil unearthing a massive emerald weighing nearly 800 pounds. John Lester, a Diamond, beating the Giants 4-1 last night and going the distance. Diamondbacks over the White Sox. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. 3 more arrests in England in the concert bombing investigation.
It's just disgusting, isn't it? Like, how anyone could do anything like that.
He was among the thousands at a vigil last night for the 22 people killed. British soldiers being called out to increase security, with the alert level there raised to its highest it can go. Fox's Simon Owen is live in Manchester.
Dave, Britain's Interior Minister saying it seems likely that the bomber here wasn't acting alone. British authorities raising the security alert level to critical, meaning they believe another attack could be imminent. As a result of that threat level, soldiers are being deployed at key sites, freeing up police to focus on anti-terror work. And the popular changing of the guard ceremony at Buckingham Palace has been cancelled to allow police to be redeployed. Dave?
Simon, President Trump's wrapping up meetings with Italy's president and prime minister. Earlier, he was at the Vatican, saying he had a great meeting with Pope Francis.
I will never forget what you told me today.
Fox's John Roberts says that's what the president told the Pope at the end of their meeting. Roberts is at the Vatican.
Don't forget the Pope had tweeted out that perhaps Donald Trump wasn't a Christian because he wanted to build a wall instead of a bridge, to which the president answered that such talk was disgraceful, that no leader, particularly a religious leader, should be questioning someone's faith. But when they met in the Apostolic Palace here in Vatican City, they seemed to get along quite well. Not a lot of smiles from the Pope at the very beginning as the two men were just getting to know each other. But afterwards, it seemed as though they must have had a good meeting because there were smiles and handshakes all around.
Soon, President Trump will go to Brussels for a summit with NATO leaders tomorrow. It's a first anywhere in Asia. In Taiwan, the Constitutional Court has ruled in favor of same-sex marriage, saying that current civil code barring gay marriages is in violation of the Constitution, which safeguards human dignity and equality under the law. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
The performance, conduct, and sustainability of organizations are a direct result of leadership. A leader's impact can be profoundly good or bad. We've experienced the devastating impact of unethical, selfish, and corrupt leaders. We've also experienced the impact of good and caring leaders whose honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct have created great organizations and a legacy of goodwill. Our challenging times require courageous, values-driven leaders to step up to these challenges. My name is Rich Panico. I am the founder and CEO of Integrated Project Management Company, IPM. I am blessed to lead a wonderful family of talented and caring leaders. Join us as we strive to change the world, one project at a time.
Trust IPM, the consulting industry's leader at executing your critical initiatives. For almost 3 decades, IPM has planned and executed projects in the life sciences, healthcare, consumer, and industrial sectors with honesty and integrity. Visit IPMCinc.com. That's IPMCinc.com. Or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600.
ADT presents What to Consider When Considering Home Security.
An ADT sign is more than a sign. It's a line in the sand. On one side, your family. On the other, an uncertain world.
For over 140 years, more people have chosen ADT to help prevent crime than anyone else. Get ADT starting at just $28.99 a month.
Tested, trusted, proven ADT.
With 36-month contract for licensing and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
The Ready to Ride sales event is back. Gear up for summertime fun with Sea-Doo watercraft and Can-Am ATVs that are engineered to perform and excite. Stop in now. Choose your ultimate summertime adventure machine and save up to $900 on select 2016 models. Get ready to ride because the fun starts now. Visit RJ's Recreational Vehicles in West Chicago. Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Financial Planning with Jack Taboda, your 401k specialist, whose goal is to protect, preserve, and grow your wealth. Saturday mornings at 7.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and the new information that became available after our show yesterday about the Manchester bombing and the Manchester bomber. He's been identified. His family apparently helped in terms of identifying him, turning him into authorities effectively. He, 23-year-old Libyan national. He was on the radar of British intelligence, but they didn't believe that he presented a security threat. There are definitive links to Al-Qaeda, and through his travels over the last year, there's the supposition that he could have made connection with other terrorist organizations in addition to Al-Qaeda. And there's been a lot of criticism of British politicians, even as they announced yesterday that their alert level is at its highest because they believe, based on intelligence, they're susceptible to another imminent terrorist attack.
Yeah, they said it's not if, it's when. And David Ross from ABC News did a great job. He's in Manchester, and he interviewed
Brian Ross,
David Ross is
a catcher for the Cubs who finished second in Dancing with the Stars.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. And he interviewed Mohammed Saeed. He's the imam, and he said that in 2015 he gave a sermon in which he criticized ISIS. And that is when, I don't even want to pronounce his name, the monster, the terrorist, said that he was showing me so much hate. He hated me, basically. I was shocked. And because I was saying that we should protect innocent lives, and he got up and he stormed out. Now, shouldn't he have done something to alert authorities, say, hey, this guy isn't right? I mean, why they need to police their own and turn in their own.
And, as much as that's certainly an issue that needs to be discussed, as well as how we talk about this, the dialogue. It's interesting. Fareed Zakaria gave Trump high marks for his textured speech in Saudi Arabia on the issue of radical Islamic terrorism. And there's some criticism being directed at Paul's, as I mentioned, in Britain today. Morrissey, who's was born in Manchester, of course, the front man for the Smiths, he posted a rather trenchant critique. In modern Britain, everyone seems petrified to officially say what we all say in private. Politicians tell us they are unafraid, but they are never the victims. How easy to be unafraid when one is protected from the line of fire. The people have no such protections. It can be applied to the policy in Chicago, too, that criticism. He goes on to say, in criticism of those who describe the bomber as a quote-unquote extremist. This is the best part. Morrissey asks, an extreme what? An extreme rabbit? The suspension of disbelief. No more for one Manchester-born singer. What about the rest of Western Europe? For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Colonel Cedric Layton, who's a military intelligence expert, security consultant, who served both on the Joint Chiefs of Staff as well as the National Security Council. Colonel Layton, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
You bet, Dan. Good to be with you.
So what about the issue of 3,500 identified terrorists, according to press reports, suspected terrorists in Britain that intelligence is trying to keep track of? We've got a similar dynamic in this country with the reports of the FBI involved in terrorist organization investigations in all 50 states. Is there more that could and should be done by Western intelligence agencies and law enforcement, whether it's in the UK or here, that isn't being done?
Well, I think there always is more that can be done. I mean, they're beginning to look at using more modern technologies, things like artificial intelligence, data mining. The NSA and other intelligence agencies have done a very good job of starting some of the processes of data mining, for example, in the intelligence world. But that's the kind of thing that you need. If you have that volume of terrorists, the 3,500 alleged to be in the UK and all 50 states being sites of some kind of terrorism investigation in the U.S., it's very clear that the numbers are high enough that you can't have old methods in place. You can't, do the old gumshoe routine that we're all familiar with from the movies, because that just isn't sufficient. There are so many ways that people can get radicalized, and to keep on top of that, to understand what they're going through, to pick up on nuances like his reaction to the imam, the suspect's reaction to the imam that you talked about in the UK. All of that is very, very important. And at some point you want to get to the point where you actually anticipate these kinds of acts and prevent them from happening. That's probably a bridge too far for a long, long time, but that's the kind of thing that you want to get at, and you want to be able to have the security services do that.
Well, Salman Abedi, he was born in the UK, but he was the son of a family who immigrated from Libya, recently traveled there. Is there a large ISIS population, or is that a hotbed of ISIS activity in Libya?
It is, Amy, and what ISIS is doing is basically they are moving their people, or have tried to move their people from Iraq and Syria as a lot of pressure mounts against their strongholds in western Mosul, and of course in Raqqa, their up to this point de facto capital. They're moving their people, and have done so for several months now, to Libya as best as they can. And the fact that Libya is also, in essence, ungoverned territory, there are different competing factions there, makes it a very good, fertile ground for ISIS to grow. And ISIS has been very active, especially in some of the coastal areas. The town of Sirte, for example, has been one of the big hotbeds of ISIS activity in the past. And that's the kind of thing that makes it highly likely that that Salman was actually the person, one of the persons that was trained in Libya by ISIS, and possibly used that training as he detonated his device in Manchester.
I know all of these incidents and individuals are case specific, but is there any established protocol or checklist or approach that's taken by intelligence to rank, order, prioritize all of these investigations and all of these potential threats? I mean, I know you talked about using AI and algorithmic solutions to help do the analysis, but ultimately you're going to have some human judgment calls. And is there such a practicum in place that is used by intelligence officers and law enforcement?
Yes, there is. And, for example, we take the British equivalent of the FBI MI5, Scotland Yard. They have a series of protocols that they use where they look at a person's patterns of behavior, and the FBI does it in a similar fashion where you see where a person has traveled. You find out who they're connected to. Unfortunately, we do a lot of the analysis after the fact, after a tragedy like Manchester has happened. But there are ways, of course, to look at that. What becomes critical in this is the type of border controls that these countries have. Can they track people's travel? Do they understand, where they not only where they went, but how they got there? So in the case of ISIS, for example, in the past it was always clear that they went through Turkey to get to Syria. That kind of pattern of behavior, and the fact that he went to Libya, that becomes a key indicator and should have served as a red flag, or at least one of a series of red flags that would have indicated the degree of radicalization and possible training in this particular case.
So in the UK now, in Manchester, they're adding 3,000 more military personnel to get, to guard soft targets such as shopping malls, arenas, things like that, concerts. Is that going to help, or is that just window dressing?
Well, sometimes window dressing, and it is to an extent window dressing, Amy, but sometimes window dressing can have a deterrent effect. After the Paris attacks, the French deployed even more troops in Paris, so you can make the argument that, well, they already had troops there, and the attacks on the Bataclan still happened. But what does happen on occasion is that some terrorists get cold feet when they see soldiers, with their submachine guns standing guard in front of monuments or even soft targets. So there is some degree of a deterrent effect, but it is not sufficient to prevent the kinds of things that, such as the Manchester attack, that could have a significant impact not only on the specific people involved, but on society at large. So it's window dressing after the fact, and unfortunately it's a very reactive posture. Not that you can blame them for doing it, but the fact of the matter is it's less effective than one would hope.
I wanted to get your reaction on another subject, to the testimony before the House Intelligence Committee from former CIA Director John Brennan yesterday, in which he basically said, look, we observed some contacts that I'm not going to describe in any greater detail because it's classified information, so I'm not going to describe that in open session. But we observed some contacts between the Trump organization and Russians, and they were concerning. I don't know the nature of those contacts, whether they were benign or not benign, to borrow the characterization from Trey Gowdy. And it's not our job at CIA to judge guilt or innocence on anything. We refer to the FBI for investigation, which they did, and this has been going on for 10 months. Krauthammer yesterday on Fox said basically, the thing is no one has pointed to a there on this Russian collusion story. And the real reason it's being fueled, in addition to the perspective of the D.C. press corps, is by President Trump, who acts like there's a there with some of his offhanded comments to various personnel and in myriad meetings. What is your assessment as somebody who's steeped in military intelligence, worked at the Joint Chiefs, worked at the National Security Council, about this Russian collusion, Russian interference with the investigation, all of the allegations that are swirling around Trump and the Trump administration?
Well, I certainly think that there are some issues there. So the characterization that John Brennan made in front of the committees in Congress yesterday was very interesting, because what it did was it provided a window on how in these types of cases intelligence agencies operate. And he was absolutely correct that when the intelligence agencies look at something like this, they operate on the principle of suspicion. If there is contact, you want to know, is this contact something that is just happening in the normal course of business, or is there something more sinister going on? So when somebody like Mr. Brennan looks at this, and myself included, you look at these kinds of things and you say, okay, what is the pattern here? Is this, did they just bump into each other at the cocktail party, or is a type of relationship being cultivated? And it's pretty clear from what has been released so far that the Russians did, in fact, try to cultivate some degree of a relationship. Now, it could be, that they want to sell more oil to the United States, and that's a fairly benign activity. But when you work in an intelligence agency, you're looking for more suspicious, more sinister things, and you are going to not only look at the type of contact, but the frequency of contact, and actually who made that contact, who was in this. So when you look at the situation with retired General Michael Flynn, you see that there was direct contact with the Russian ambassador to the United States, Mr. Kislyak. And when you see that, that's a very high level. It's at the beginning, at least, a bit unusual. When he became the national security advisor, or the senior advisor for national security affairs in the transition team, then it was somewhat normal to have that kind of contact. But the fact that it existed before anybody knew he was going to be in that role, that indicates that there's some degree of suspicion. Just as an example, so when you look at this, you look at what's the possibility of things going really bad? What's the possibility of the Russians orchestrating some kind of a campaign to turn people to be working on their behalf? And when John Brennan talked about people being witting accomplices and unwitting accomplices in this kind of activity, that's exactly right. There are a lot of people who are contacted by intelligence agencies from foreign countries, and those intelligence agencies want to get information out of them. And in some cases, they don't even reveal their hand. They make the people do their bidding in a very subtle way. They get what they need out of them, and there's no real further contact. In other cases, they want to cultivate the contact, and they want to make that contact even more robust. And in some cases, they then actually do make them engage in treasonous activities, and that's because of financial connections that develop. It's because of they do one favor for them, and then you heap that onto another favor, and then that results in the prospect of forcing them to betray their country. Not saying that this has happened in this case; it's way too early for that. But that's the kind of behavior that intelligence agents engage in, and it's certainly something that the Russians have practiced for many, many, many years.
He is Colonel Cedric Layton, military intelligence expert, security consultant, who previously served on both the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the National Security Council. Colonel Layton, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
You bet, Dan. Absolutely.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Soggy forecast for today and a little nippy out there, that's for sure. Right now it is 52 degrees, going up to a high of 62 degrees with brief showers or two on and off throughout the day. Tonight, a brief evening shower. And then tomorrow, some clouds breaking for some sun. That'll be nice, and a high of 67 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. A little hydroplaning this morning. Here's Jim Talamonte.
It's slow and soggy, Amy. Good morning. Morning, Dan. Eastbound Eden Spur. Things are all bottled up between Waukegan Road and the Edens. And then it's fairly clear sailing or hydroplaning till you get to the point around Cicero Avenue. Then you've got a 2 or 3 minute delay coming out of the Kennedy. Outbound, just a brief slowdown, Montrose to Foster to Kennedy. Now looking at 28 minutes, so Hare to downtown, outbound 25. The Eisenhower, 50 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 36. The Stevenson, brutal. Hour and 10 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. It's 56 minutes from the Tri-State already. Outbound 38 minutes to 355. Ryan is 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes. I-80 to the Verge. Bishop Ford at 25. Northbound Tri-State slow 95th to 75th. From the Hinsdale Oasis to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway most of the way to the Grand Avenue curve. And the Adams Tollway's jam from the Tri-State to the Kennedy. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, the Bolingbrook Golf Club is the location of our annual golf outing. Sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford, but there's more than just golf at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Celebrate Independence Day at the Bolingbrook Golf Club this year, complete with food, fun, and fireworks. And you can find all the details about their 4th of July celebration at BolingbrookGolfClub.com. That's BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-400-4098. Even better, call right now and you can get an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Do you know your bank's fraud tolerance? I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive. At Signature Bank, we have zero tolerance. While some of the big banks may write off smaller incidences of fraud, we use a multi-layered approach to fight fraud before it happens to our customers. There's been a record number of businesses hit with payments fraud this year. Keeping your business assets safe is our top priority. We are trained, and we will train you to recognize potential wire fraud threats and business email compromise scams. Call us today to find out how Signature Bank can work with your business to fight fraud.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 15-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher & Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher & Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher & Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. President Trump's victory produced a plethora of leftist think pieces plotting their escape from their coastal bubbles, so they're never so blindsided again. After a 6-month probationary period, can we finally dismiss as disingenuous their intellectual curiosity? During that time, the left has written more Russian fiction than Boris Pasternak. The budding totalitarians on college campuses have attacked professors, shouted down the education secretary, and argued that white men do not enjoy First Amendment rights. In Chicago, Chicago, a group of nasty women hosted an art exhibit fundraiser for Planned Parenthood featuring an anti-Trump painting stained with the vaginal blood from the artist. In Phoenix, the city used taxpayer dollars to help finance a billboard depicting Trump as a money-grubbing Nazi. Storied MIT linguistics professor Noam Chomsky claimed recently that the Republican Party is the greatest threat to mankind's survival in the history of the world. I don't see much common ground to be forged here, and frankly, I'm not terribly interested in indulging lunacy. If I'm a deplorable, then they are the unsalvageables. I say we let them stay scrolled away in their bubbles, and we pop them again in November of 2018.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, so I don't know if you heard, but Ariana Grande is back at her home in Florida with some counseling. She's still just paralyzed by what had happened. Canceled her Thursday night concert in London, which
I can understand that.
Yeah, but other people that canceled, Blondie canceled her concert. Take That, which is a group that formed in Manchester, they also canceled their their Tuesday night concert in Liverpool.
Okay, so these are all concerts that were scheduled to take place in London or the London area.
Now, upcoming concerts where people are not going to budge and they're going to stand firm. Celine Dion, huh?
Her heart will go on.
Yes. Guns N' Roses, Phil Collins, and Iron Maiden. Oh, yeah. What songs does Iron Maiden sing? Do they sound like that?
Yeah, they all kind of sound like that. That's a little bit more Slayer. Iron Maiden. Some of Iron Maiden songs were intelligible, but I can't think of one offhand. I wasn't much of a heavy metal guy.
Really?
I mean, I like Metallica and
who doesn't really?
But
2 minutes to midnight.
Oh, 2 minutes. I don't remember that. Sure.
Can you sing it, Mike
Scott? Of course,
Scott?
heavy metal in the news.
I would I would pay you $100 right now if you started singing some heavy metal songs.
I'm not a big Iron Maiden guy.
Yeah.
What about Deep Purple?
He's more of a Black Sabbath guy.
Yeah, Smoke on the Water. Come on, Deep Purple.
Yeah. That's not heavy metal.
Well,
no, we're talking like Black Sabbath. I mean, that's Mike Scott's speed. Black Sabbath.
Oh.
No, I'm more of a speed metal guy.
Speed? Oh, like Slayer?
Yeah.
Oh my
Really?
God.
Yeah.
Well, we had you pegged wrong
Mike
all
Scott,
these years.
I had no idea. Mike Scott worships the devil. I had no idea.
I'm more of a George Strait guy, but that's another issue for another time.
All right.
All right. Well, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Karen Lewis says that, let's see, Ronner hates the poor. CPS needs more tax dollars. That's the solution there. And Betsy DeVos, not the Chicago Teachers Pension Fund. That's a Ponzi scheme at 6:36.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Rain showers and 53 degrees. Good morning in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. 3 more are in custody this morning as British police continue investigating a deadly bombing in Manchester. Police spokeswoman announcing the arrest today did not give details. British Prime Minister Theresa May says officials are increasing the threat level after Monday's deadly bombing in Manchester.
It is now concluded, on the basis of today's investigations, that the threat level should be increased for the time being from severe to critical.
For those in England, what that means is the armed forces will now start patrolling certain venues. And Senator John McCain is calling the deadly Manchester attack a gruesome reminder that the world remains on fire.
When it comes to the great national security challenges we face, U.S. policy and strategy are consistently lacking.
The Arizona Republican condemned the terror attack. Meantime, also on Capitol Hill yesterday, former CIA Director John Brennan says Russian meddling in the presidential election was brazen interference.
Russia brazenly interfered in our 2016 presidential election process, and that they undertook these activities despite our strong protests and explicit warning that they not do so.
At a U.S. House hearing yesterday, Brennan said Russia's goals were to undermine America's public faith in the electoral process and, in his opinion, hurt Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. This morning, somewhat of a Wall Street surprise. China's credit rating is being downgraded. Moody's Investor Service has cut China's rating by one notch over fears of major slow growth months and years ahead. Chicago Teachers Union demanding that Mayor Emanuel fire CPS CEO Forrest Claypool, and no confidence vote was taken by the teachers yesterday. Allstate Arena in Rosemont beefing up security following Monday's deadly terror bombing in Manchester. Watch for more security guards and police, in addition to the already several layers of security that are in place. A 15-year-old Des Plaines boy has died 2 days after being shot in the face by a 10-year-old sibling. Police say they're investigating what they're calling a tragic accident. John Lester goes the distance. Cubs down the Giants 4-1 at Wrigley. Diamondbacks hold on for a 5-4 win over the homer-happy White Sox in Arizona. Abreu, Cabrera, and Frazier all go deep. The news, a service of Napa Auto Parts, with quality auto parts and more than just 90 years of experience. Napa Auto Parts can help you keep just about anything on the road. So stop by your local Napa store and keep it running longer, stronger with Napa know-how. 6:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Visit Discount Tire this Friday and Saturday and get up to $320 on select tire and wheel packages purchased with Discount Tire credit. Discount Tire, where America saves on tires.
Most folks are scared to even begin the process of buying a new car. No doubt shopping for a new vehicle can be intimidating. You want a dealer that really helps you get the best car for you and your family and skips the high-pressure nonsense. That's Joe Cotton Ford. They're here to help you find the new Ford car or truck that fits your lifestyle and your budget with no hassles, no drama, no high-pressure sales tactics. Really. You just can't find that kind of great customer service these days, so relax. Car buying doesn't have to stress you out. At Joe Cotton Ford, you have their word. Your satisfaction is their top priority. In fact, that's why Joe Cotton Ford is one of the highest repeat customer dealerships in Chicagoland. They take pride in working with generations of Ford buyers and their families, whether they're buying their first vehicle or their 14th. Get to Joe Cotton Ford and drive home a new Ford car or truck today. Gary and North Avenue and Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com. That's joecottonford.com.
You're the one that gets it done. The person your friends call to see if you can fix it. Brakes? No biggie. Shocks and struts? Simple and straightforward. The catalytic converter heat shield? Come on. If it has wheels, you can make it go. But not having the right part can bring your project to a screeching halt. Problem solved with MyPartsGarage.com. My Parts Garage is not a big box store that needs to wait to get a part in. MyPartsGarage.com is the warehouse that sells wholesale to you. They own the inventory. Your part is always in stock. But wait, there's more. Like free shipping within 24 hours, in-state, next-day delivery, or pick it up today at the warehouse. Right now, MyPartsGarage.com will price match your order, and yes, the shipping is still free. The last thing you need to do is drive fast and furiously to find parts. The average driver in Chicago commutes at least 24 miles per day. People are spending more hours in their car than they do at home. Drivers need you. You need MyPartsGarage.com. Lowest prices guaranteed and free shipping.
6:36, check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The eastbound Eden Spur has about a 5-minute delay from Waukegan Road to the Edens. Then it's 26 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, and outbound 21, the Kennedy. Now 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 33. The Eisenhower's 1 hour from Thorndale to the post office. 44 minutes from Manheim, outbound 36 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Delay starting at Weber Road. It's an hour and 3 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 38 minutes to 355. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. On the Tri-State, delays are northbound 95th to 75th. The Hinsdale Oasis to 31st. The Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Adams Tollway jam. The Tri-State to the Kennedy. Reagan Tollway from 83 to the Ike. Traffic at the service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, breezy, and cool today. We'll have a brief shower, maybe two, and a high of 62. We'll have more showers overnight under cloudy skies and a low of 51. We may see a bit of sunshine tomorrow, high 67. Currently 53 and rain showers. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continue next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
I'm trying to think. This is, look at Mike's got his jam on. Look at Mike Scott go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's,
I'm really old.
Yeah.
This is old music.
But you're moving in your chair.
Were you on the cans? Was that your forte?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
No. Everything I do is by air only.
Oh.
Air drums.
Air guitar.
Air bass.
But you had to go through a punk phase. You had to go through Ian Curtis.
No. I was, in the early 80s, I was more of a new wave kind of guy, Flock of Seagulls, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Just for a short time, but
Space Age love song.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Flock of Seagulls.
Kind of.
Oh, their
Kind
hair.
of. Well, I had a pair of the pants anyway.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was the fourth Thompson twin, Mike Scott.
Yes, I was.
Speaking of the absurd, Karen Lewis spoke at the City Club yesterday.
Oh, hi, Karen.
Chicago Teachers Union boss Karen Lewis. She used to come on our show and talk to us.
She used to follow you on Twitter, and now she has blocked you on Twitter. And because I hang out with you, because I'm paid to. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
exactly.
Now she blocked me on Twitter. And I have kids that are enrolled in CPS.
Being blocked on Twitter, that is the 21st century way of saying you're dead to me.
Right.
And so that's just how it is. I mean, so as much as Karen Lewis likes to be brash and take on all comers, she's a bully. She won't take on us.
She is a bully.
Won't take on us. But she took on City Club, friendly audience there, and she had a lot to say about the borrowing scheme to keep CPS afloat, the payday loans that Tiny Dancer's arranging.
What, 9% interest on that?
Well,
or maybe more.
They'll be in that neighborhood. 9% interest on $400 million that perhaps you'll get 3-4% return. That's a good deal. But by the way, and just a reminder again, this story, the story that we did at Chicago City Wire, which is one of my outlets, and that was picked up by Zero Hedge. Give you an order. The Chicago Teachers Pension Fund last year, it paid out $1.5 billion. It saw a return on investment of just under $8 million.
How is that sustainable?
That is the definition of a Ponzi scheme.
So
Bernie Madoff got 150 years in prison, and deservedly so, for doing this. Listen to this. The combination, Chicago, you understand Chicago? In one snapshot? We reported this story as well. The Chicago City Workers and the Chicago Laborers Pension Fund and the Chicago Teachers Pension Funds, take them all as a whole. Just last year, paid out $2.5 billion and saw a return on investment of a total of $97 million. I mean, it's laughable if
it's so sad
if it's not your pension that is. You don't have. Do you understand? You don't have pensions. You're paying in, and it's going right back out to effectively, and that's where we're going to be very soon, to current beneficiaries. It's a Ponzi scheme. Okay. So let's just establish that before we get to what Karen Lewis had to say on a range of topics, including the borrowing, including CPS funding, of course, more. How much more? Always more. Including Governor Rauner, including Tiny Dancer, including Betsy DeVos. Where to begin? So much ground that Karen Lewis covers. How about Chicago Public School funding? See if you agree with what Karen Lewis had to say on this topic. I actually agree in part. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. See if you can identify which part.
You can't solve dilemmas. You can only manage them. You can solve problems, but you have to manage dilemmas. And budget cuts do not solve the funding issues. Revenue solves funding problems. So that's what we have to think about. So last Friday, after taking a full year to recognize that we were right about the politics of Springfield and the need for municipal finance, Rahm's solution, bless his little heart, was a $389 million payday loan for a district that's already $9 billion in debt. I'm sorry, but having productive talks with your lending partners is not advocating for the schools our students and their communities deserve. And a no confidence vote in the CPS CEO is a proxy vote for the man who appointed him, because the issues plaguing our schools are indicative of the problems facing our city. There is a lack of vision among Chicago's leadership.
Okay.
All right.
The last part of what she said, I agree with.
And the tiny heart, describing Mayor Emanuel.
That's true, and I love a good short joke. Karen Lewis famously, and this is when, the good times between us and Karen Lewis, when Karen Lewis was asked what the difference is between Tiny Dancer and herself, she said, "I'm 5'9".
That's funny.
Those were the good times.
That is the good times. And
those are the memories. That's how I like to remember Karen Lewis. But she's right about that. I just disagree with her vision, of course, which is tax everything under the sun, and what you're not, and what you're already taxing, increase at a 45-degree angle to fund a system that doesn't produce what it promises to produce at exorbitant prices. Okay, so we disagree on the vision, but the criticism that it's completely lacking, and this is a shell game that Tiny Dancer and Chicago Pauls are playing, and Springfield Pauls, generally speaking. Yeah, she's right about that. She's right about that. Then
I can't wait to hear what you said about DeVos.
Well, here.
Do I have to wait still?
Yeah, we'll get to DeVos.
Dan.
But listen to this. Listen to the two Chicagos. Okay. And what Karen Lewis is saying about the two Chicagos is correct. But the question is, who is the responsible party? Which policy vision, to borrow her word, has Chicago been following? The conservative reform policy vision we advocate on this show? Or the Karen Lewis policy vision of a government-centric society? Listen to the criticism.
The unemployment rate on the south and west sides of the city hovers near levels not seen since the Great Depression. I'm not talking about 2007, I'm talking about the 1930s. Okay, since the Great Depression.
True.
CPS itself has classified nearly 20,000 students throughout our school district as homeless. Make no mistake, there are indeed two Chicagos. One that attracts young millennials in the tech industry who enjoy cutting-edge, state-of-the-art taxpayer investments in walkable downtown, South Loop and West Loop neighborhoods. And another where there are funerals for children named Takia, Diego, Canary, Jesus, Levante.
True. Who's in charge of the city for the last 100 years? Whose policies have been pursued?
Democrats.
Yeah. I mean, and also, by the way, Karen Lewis's.
Mm-hmm.
What, has CPS seen a reduction in funding? No. In fact, CPS gets more state funding poverty grants, speaking of those homeless kids, and that's, the CPS numbers are always in question, but there's no question there's a problem there. There's a real challenge that CPS has with households. A challenge, by the way, you can't fix with money. You can't fix what's happening to families with money. Oh, by the way, unfortunately, Karen Lewis's vision of a utopia with wraparound services notwithstanding. Where would Karen Lewis have us go? she would have us double and triple down on what we've been doing. So it's easy to point to the societal ills, but they want to point to the societal ills and say, I'm on the side of those that are suffering, and my remedy for the suffering is a continuation of the policies that produce the suffering. And that's the dot that you have to connect to understand this. Otherwise, it's just the false game of who cares more. And that's where she went next with Governor Rauner.
Regardless of the metaphor, the man hates us. He hates us for being true advocates for the poor and the underserved, because to him, if you're poor, it's because it's something you did wrong for which you need help. Help that comes in form of, say, a charter school with your name on it.
Rauner hates the poor and advocates for the poor. Do you believe that? This is the level of discourse. And by the way, same class at Dartmouth as Karen Lewis.
Right.
Right. Rauner hates the poor. He put a charter. He has a charter school with his name on it. Charter school is a positive innovation. Yeah.
Yeah. People want to get into charter schools.
15,000 person waiting list.
Yeah.
So there's tens of thousands of families in Chicago that disagree with Karen Lewis.
I just don't understand what happened to CPS. I mean, I used to be a substitute teacher in '96, and when Paul Vallis was there from 1995 to 2001, he left with $1.2 billion in cash reserves. And I remember he spoke at City Club 6 years later, and he didn't name Arnie Duncan. He didn't say his name, but he said that the person following him they lost their budget discipline and just spent all this money. Like, oh, we have $1.2 billion. Let's spend. And now we're $1 billion in debt.
At the turn of
how does that happen? That's fraud. I mean, he's stealing from the taxpayers.
At the turn of the century, the Chicago Teachers Union pension fund was nearly fully funded. Today, it's 50% funded and going down as per last year's payouts versus return on investment. By the way,
how did that happen?
And again, who's been in charge? And with respect to who's in charge in the governor's mansion right now, Rauner didn't just put his name on a charter school. He also put his name on a YMCA. He funded a YMCA, too, on the west side. So what about that? Is that illegitimate? Is that the indicia of someone who is uninterested in anyone who doesn't live in the 6009193 area codes? Zip codes, I should say. I don't think so. This whole thing of here's how we're going to paper over the havoc our policy agenda has wrought. We're going to say they don't care about you and we do. That's
right.
all
That's
they
all
have.
They do.
That's
and
all they
always
have.
Act like Republicans aren't philanthropic, and Republicans are very giving. I mean, look at Bruce Rauner.
I mean, this is all that Karen Lewis has because she's a part of a system. She is part of the leadership of a system. And don't tell me the Chicago Teachers Union boss isn't. That is indefensible. Cannot defend its performance. You haven't been able to defend its performance academically for a half century, at least, in most of the city. And now you can't, of course, defend its financial solubility because it's bankrupt and junk rated. And so what do they have? What does Karen Lewis have? I care, you don't. And they think, and we'll find out if they're right, that the majority of Chicagoans will continue to fall for that claptrap, will continue to be shamed into supporting policies they know don't produce results. But they're afraid to be told by Karen Lewis, you don't care about the poor. You don't care about minorities. And the people in charge of the system who've been pushed a policy agenda that has destroyed these families, that has foreclosed opportunity for the poor and for disproportionate minority families, they just continue to get away with it, and with nice compensation packages for themselves, including Karen Lewis. Here's Karen Lewis on Betsy DeVos.
Oh, thank you.
With Rahm in City Hall, Rauner in the governor's office, Betsy DeVos leading the Department of Ed. I mean, how do you work a Ponzi scheme? You work a Ponzi scheme, because that's what Amway is, let's face it, into the Department of Education.
How do you work a Ponzi scheme? Why don't you ask the pension fund managers and the Chicago Pauls in charge of this state?
Oh, forget Amway.
Yeah. Why don't you ask them? Eric and Roscoe, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Pyramid scheme.
Hey, Dan and Amy, how you guys doing?
We're good.
Roger Ailes said recently, I heard in an interview, Republicans, such as in the case of Enron, have been known to take over corporations. They've never been so brazen as to steal cities. I thought that's appropriate.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Eric. Michael on the northwest side.
Hi, good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you?
Good.
So I work for the city of Chicago, and I started in July of 1999. And that year, under Mayor Daley's regime, he allowed his nephew, who owned a private company, to borrow money against the laborer's pension, including the teacher's pension. They were operating at 150% in that year. They were paying; it was paying itself, and we were going through. It started with a buyout for employees, teachers, and municipalities, and they never paid it back, and he filed bankruptcy on it. So that's why this is all happening now, where there's no money left. This was a huge thing that got glossed over by the news, and nobody held his administration accountable. So that's why we are in the problems that we are in right now.
Mm-hmm. And where do we go?
What we need to do is we need to start by getting rid of the Democrats. They are a poison that has seeped into politics in Illinois for years and years and years. They blame the Republicans for all of their problems when you can't. They haven't been in charge. They haven't had any type of power whatsoever. Chicago is the most corrupt city in the United States when it comes to politics.
Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Michael.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Target reaches a multi-million-dollar settlement over a data breach. Fiat Chrysler faces emissions lawsuit. Those stories next. Are you being intimidated by the IRS? Rapid Resolution Tax Group is a team of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and tax professionals who've helped thousands of people with problems just like yours, and they promise not to let the IRS intimidate you. If you are an individual or business who owes at least $10,000 to the IRS, you can turn to them for help. Has your bank account been levied? Do you have years of unfiled tax returns? Let Rapid Resolution Tax Group intervene for you. They're accredited with and A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they guarantee same-day contact with the IRS. If you qualify, Rapid Resolution Tax Group can work towards settling your tax debt for less, removing penalties and fees, and stopping levies and garnishments. Call the professionals at Rapid Resolution Tax Group at 800-601-2929. That's 800-601-2929. Target Stores has reached a settlement, an $18.5 million settlement with 47 states and the District of Columbia, that over a 2013 data breach that affected 41 million of its customers. In addition to the financial settlement, Target agrees to maintain stronger encryption policies to assure customer privacy. Economic updates today, including quarterly financial results from Lowe's, a report on existing home sales, and minutes from the Federal Reserve's April meeting. The United States suing Fiat Chrysler, charging some Jeep SUVs and diesel pickup trucks cheat on emissions tests. It's the second time that the Justice Department has gone after a car maker. Walmart expanding its leave of absence policy for employees who are on military assignment. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
And this is a story about Turnkey IT. Hey, how would you like to have insurance for your computer network? Something to protect your hardware and software, and most importantly, give you peace of mind. Well, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets a full team of the best in the business. They're certified technicians who are there for you, working in the background to ensure your systems are up and running. They'll help you over the phone and make house calls to your workplace. And Turnkey IT doesn't wait until there's an emergency, because they work hard to take preventative measures to keep your network secure, backed up, and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with the turnkey experience. What's that? Well, everything's included: Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, and unlimited remote and on-site support. So find out what Turnkey can do for your company by just visiting turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
All Nissans are created equal. It's Nissan of St. Charles that makes the difference. At Nissan of St. Charles, we go the extra mile to make sure your happiness lasts as long as you own your vehicle. Every new Nissan or used vehicle we sell comes with our exclusive Lifetime Advantage warranty. So when you get your new Nissan at Nissan of St. Charles, you'll drive with peace of mind knowing it's backed by our exclusive warranty that lasts the lifetime of your vehicle. And be sure to ask about our Lifetime Tire program. Where else can you get a great deal on a new Nissan, a Lifetime Advantage warranty, and a Lifetime Tire program? The little things make all the difference. While all Nissans may be created equal, the difference is clearly Nissan of St. Charles. Located on North Avenue in the heart of St. Charles, or visit us online at nissanofstcharles.com. That's nissanofstcharles.com. Nissan of St. Charles. Experience the difference.
Could your vitamin and mineral supplements be harming you? Here's the inventor of Texas Superfood, Dennis Black.
Most adults take supplements hoping to improve their health, but there's no proof they actually work. While medicines target symptoms, they don't do anything to prevent illness. That's why I created Texas Superfood. It's pure, natural nutrition. Texas Superfood contains antioxidant-rich vitamins and minerals from 55 vine-ripened fruits and vegetables. Count them, 55. Your body needs this. So here's my health promise to you. Switch from your chemistry set vitamins to Texas Superfood for 90 days. Get better energy, more focus, and better sleep, or return it. No questions asked.
Now, when you order 2 bottles of Texas Superfood, you can get the 3rd bottle free, but you must call now. 877-55-TEXAS. That's 877-55-TEXAS. You can also order online at texassuperfood.com. Call now, 877-55-TEXAS.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Illinois Senate Democrats pass a 32% income tax hike, $5 billion income tax hike, with no spending reforms. What are that bill's prospects in the House? We'll ask State Representative Jeannie Ives at 7:07.
And later, the budget is out. Is it a taxpayer-first budget or a reverse Robin Hood? We'll get the latest from Stephen Moore. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, CTU voting no confidence in Claypool. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Did the British concert bomber act alone? There have been 3 more arrests 2 days later as the terror threat level there is raised to the highest it can go. But Prime Minister Theresa May says,
I do not want the public to feel unduly alarmed.
The bombing killed 22 people. 64 others remain hospitalized in Manchester, where Fox's Simon Owen is live.
Dave, police here saying their priority is establishing whether Salman Abedi, the 22-year-old suicide bomber, was part of a wider network. The British Interior Minister saying it seems likely that he was not working alone. The increase in the terror threat level means soldiers are being deployed to support police. Meanwhile, as Manchester responds, thousands of people here attended a vigil last night in this soccer-mad city. One man told me the only thing that divides us is which team we support. Dave?
Simon, President Trump's getting ready to leave Rome after talks with Italy's president and prime minister. And that meeting with Pope Francis that he called great, fantastic. The president added, he's something.
Hands were shaken, discussions were had, gifts were given. The Pope gave President Trump a medal by a Rome-based artist, and it was an olive, a symbol of peace that had been signed by the Pope. Then he gave President Trump 3 books, one about religion, one about family, and one about the environment. And then the president gave Pope Francis some books, first edition books by Martin Luther King Jr.
Fox's Amy Kellogg at the Vatican. There's a renewed push in Texas to enact a bathroom law like North Carolina's, which led to boycotts.
The state Senate voted 21-10 just after 1 a.m. to attach rules requiring transgender Texans to use public bathrooms corresponding to their birth certificate gender.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. That bill is attached to an unrelated piece of legislation sponsored by a Democrat. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
53 degrees. Skies are mostly cloudy, and we've had rain showers off and on this morning. In the AM 560 newsroom, good morning, I'm Mike Scott. It's the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles is the home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Chicago Teachers Union demanding that Mayor Emanuel fire CPS CEO Forrest Claypool. CTU announcing yesterday its members have lodged a vote of no confidence on Claypool's leadership.
I know Forrest Claypool wants to attack us and silence us to scare other teachers who advocate for special education students and also for black and brown students, but we will not be intimidated and we'll keep fighting back.
The announcement comes after Emanuel and CPS laid out plans to borrow $900 million in short-term debt to stay afloat. The Allstate Arena in Rosemont beefing up security following Monday's deadly terror bombings in Manchester. Meantime, Chicago is receiving $1 million from the Cubs to pay for dozens of security cameras near Wrigley Field. Republicans in the Illinois Senate say they don't want anything to do with $5 billion in new taxes. Democrats in the state's upper chamber approved the tax hikes yesterday. Authorities are investigating an apparent murder-suicide involving a married couple. It happened in Woodridge. Police continue to investigate after Shedrick Pryor shot and killed his pregnant wife, April, before turning the gun on himself. John Lester goes the distance. Cubs beat the Giants 4-1 at Wrigley Field. Diamondbacks hold on for a 5-4 win over the White Sox in Arizona. The news, a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's business credit account. 5% on all purchases in-store or online, subject to credit approval, U.S. only. 7:03, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Why choose Kubota and Associates to handle your retirement? Well, because we provide objective advice and concierge service, investments, insurance, retirement planning, all at one location. We also partner with qualified attorneys and CPAs to provide complete financial strategies for our clients. We use a variety of investment and insurance products to custom design retirement plans that can give clients a clear look at their future. We help you stay on the path toward financial independence. If you don't want to do it yourself and you want to work with a team to create a financial strategy for your future, give us a call. 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. Would you rather get retirement advice from some TV show host who doesn't know anything about you, or Kubota and Associates? 630-777-7955. Kubota and Associates is a registered investment advisory firm. Jack Kubota is an investment advisor representative and insurance professional. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Looks like some cable and phone companies are trying to sell home security. But when a burglar sees one of their signs in the front yard, what does it say? Oh, wow, this home has 599 channels. Or, oh, these guys have high-speed internet. But the ADT sign, it says, this family trusts the company whose name means security. So beat it. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes.
Learn more at ADT.com and to see licensing and terms and conditions.
It's time to gear up for summer fun. The Ready to Ride sales event is here. Looking to ride the waves? Check out our selection of Sea-Doo watercraft. Want to tear up the trails? Shop our selection of Can-Am ATVs and side-by-sides. Or rev up for open road adventures with the latest Spyder Roadsters. Stop in now and save up to $3,500 on your ultimate warm weather adventure machines. Visit Dockside Marine in Wilmington. Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
7:06. Let's get a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The eastbound Eden Spur is heavy past Waukegan Road. Then it's 31 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound Eden's at 28 minutes. The Kennedy. Now 51 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 20 from Montrose. 15 on the Express. Outbound 51 minutes to the airport. About Eisenhower, an hour and 17 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. An hour from Manheim. Outbound 56 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 11 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. An hour from the Tri-State. Outbound 52 minutes to 355. Ryan is 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and go from 115th to the Hinsdale Oasis, then from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. The Adams Tollway is okay now. The Reagan Tollway slow 83 to the Eisenhower. Veterans Memorial, heavy from Army Trail to 290. Westbound 8094 slow from Broadway to Klein Avenue. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, and cool with a brief shower or two. High 64. A brief evening shower or two. Otherwise, tonight, mostly cloudy with a low 51. Clouds tomorrow will break for some sun with a high 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
53 at O'Hare, 54 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the greatest financial crime in history. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, the Illinois Senate Democrats acted yesterday. They sure did.
Oh, no,
on a party line vote, they voted to increase the Illinois state income tax by 32% with no spending reforms. John Cullerton, the Senate president, was backslapping his colleagues and patting himself on the back as well. We actually acted. Well, sure. And Willie Sutton used to act, too. He would go into a bank and demand the money at the point of a gun. That's acting. The question is it productive acting? And the other question, too, since all the press agents for big government, their focus in this state, in Chicago and Springfield, is on the crises in government, and they're real. And they've all been created at the hands of Chicago Democrats and complicit Republicans over the last 40 years. But there's another crisis happening, too, and that's in the private sector. That's for families whose home equity is being stolen, whose kids are leaving to go to college elsewhere, and have been for a long time. Oh, by the way, for job opportunities they don't have, particularly for those that are less advantaged that the Democrats like to feign interest in, that Karen Lewis was talking about the City Club yesterday. Unemployment rates on the west and south sides of Chicago approaching the Great Depression 90 years ago, 95 years ago. That's true. So what to do about it? Senate Democrats say continue taking more of your dollars, your money, 32% income tax hike, nothing with respect to spending reforms or changing the obligations that state government accrues and imposes. Now it heads over to the House. So what's going to happen there? Well, for perspective on that, we're pleased to be joined by a member of the Illinois House of Representatives. She is State Representative Jeannie Ives, Republican from Wheaton. Jeannie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on, especially about this topic.
So what happens in the House with respect to the Senate bill that was passed yesterday to increase income tax?
Well, if you believe Mike Madigan, he's going to thoughtfully consider their proposal. But I actually pre-filed for this tax increase bill back in January, figuring that if I wanted a voice in the conversation on taxes, that it'd be helpful to control the bill in the House. So as of right now, I'm the sponsor when it comes over to the House. And I'd like to have my own conversation about taxes, and it's not about increasing them.
But just to clarify, for those not steeped in the legislative procedural protocols, you're the sponsor not because you support it. You're the sponsor because you want to bury it.
That's exactly right.
So,
bury it, change it dramatically, put in a property tax cap, not just a freeze. All sorts of other fun stuff we could do with this bill instead.
well, if you could wave your magic wand, what would you want to have happen?
Well, I certainly want a balanced budget, but I don't want a tax increase. And I think we can do it. And I think that the problem here with the Senate Democrats is they think it's very easy just to reach into other people's pockets and pull out more money. They literally don't think every time when they're increasing taxes, where does that money come from? It comes from the business community, and it's very hostile to business here in Springfield, and we've got to change it. The reason you have the highest black unemployment is because you also don't have a lot of jobs, especially jobs for which that are middle class jobs that people can actually earn an honest living and work hard every day and come home and provide for the family. And those types of jobs are leaving Illinois. So what would I do? I'd make it a very business-friendly environment, and that doesn't mean that you put on the highest tax rate for corporations in the entire U.S., which is what they did with this bill.
Where you already have Illinois families paying the highest overall state and local tax burden in the country, and that's largely driven by property taxation.
Well, and that's lost on them. So property taxes affect businesses, they affect families, everybody, but that whole conversation is lost on those folks down there. They just think that certain people can afford more money, and that's the only way out of this mess. I completely disagree. I think we can right-size our spending. I think we can add a lot more accountability in. I mean, every single week there is a news article after news article about misspent funds in the state of Illinois. And that's where it needs to end.
And just for some context here to kind of reset, in case people have forgotten with all of the back and forth over the last several months, the Governor Rauner, has said property tax relief, a property tax freeze, I don't think it goes far enough, but it's a start. Property tax freeze is a must-have for a budget deal. But as he has said from the beginning of his term to the present, he's willing to compromise. He's willing to deal on revenue. He's willing to increase taxes is the bottom line, but he's not willing to do it if you don't get any spending reforms on the other side. So in terms of who is intractable, as much as the Democrats want to play this game of Rauner is an iconoclast, and he is the one who is obstinate, and he's the one unwilling to apply the art of compromise. It's just false. And what they did yesterday is proof of that. What they really want is just to pour more money in to stave off the collapse of these government institutions and, admittedly, civic institutions just a little while longer to get through 2018. At least that's what the Senate wants to do. I have a feeling Mike Madigan's perspective is different. And just to put an exclamation point on this, at the same time this is going on, and they're not interested in spending reforms, you have legislation that's filed by rank-and-file Chicago Democrats like this, a proposal from State Representative Kelly Cassidy to publicly finance races for state office. Now she wants to spend more taxpayer money that they don't have to finance politicians' campaigns. And Will Guzzardi, the great progressive state representative, also from Chicago, has introduced Tuition-Free Illinois, a new college affordability grant for Illinois students. That's just this week. I mean,
they have all sorts of ways. Yeah, they have so many ways that they want to spend your money, and people can't even keep track of it. And that's the problem here. It's never enough for them. That's why you have to demand the reforms, and Governor Rauner has to stand strong for these reforms. We have to do this for the taxpayers.
I know Republicans are in the minority both in the House and the Senate, but what can you do to fight back? And are all of you guys together? Is there, did you form a solidarity?
Oh, yeah. The Republicans are definitely together on no tax increase, especially without reform. I mean, look, we're going to spend $800 million next year more just for public pensions at the state level. You don't think we need to reform that? You're worried about disability, folks. You're worried about colleges. You're worried about universities staying open. Well, how about let's talk about pension reform? If we don't do pension reform, we're going nowhere in this state really fast. I mean, so people need to start howling about the right things, and it's really a reform budget. And so the tax increase is absolutely the wrong direction.
And if this tax increase dies in the House, or if it passes the House in another party line vote and it's vetoed by the governor because it doesn't include any spending reforms, that you already have the Democrats telegraphing what they're going to do when the system really starts to seize up at the beginning of the next fiscal year in July, and you've got more layoff notices at colleges, and you may even have a college that you've advocated should shut its doors anyway, or its doors should be shut, and I agree, Chicago State, but you're going to have stories like that, and you're going to have the press agents for big government in Springfield and Chicago doing the PR work for Democrats, telling the stories of how callous and indifferent to human suffering Rauner and the Republicans are, and how much they care about everyone, which is what Karen Lewis was doing at City Club. And so are Republicans ready to stand and deliver, to make the arguments, to connect the dots, to give lie to that tried and true Democrat talking point?
Well, I'm certainly willing to stand, and I know a number of my other colleagues are willing to stand in the gap and stop this type of policy from going forward. If we don't get business friendly, if we don't get taxpayer friendly, it's going to get worse, not better. And I don't think it's that hard for people to understand. And, you know, this spending goes down to your local levels, too. Everybody in government in the state of Illinois is overspending. I guarantee you. Your schools, you think they're spending appropriately? I guarantee you they're overspending. So it's everybody's conversation. It's not just at the state house level. Everybody needs to be in this conversation and understand what's going on. If we don't reform, Illinois dies. That's really the case. And we're going to, you know, look, we can do this two ways. We can either solve this ourselves, or the market's going to come in and solve it for us.
Now,
when we're junk bond rated and all that, then we're going to pay higher rates. When people start to leave more, it's going to affect them. When businesses start to move their companies again over to Wisconsin and in Indiana, we're going to bleed out more people and taxpayers. So if we don't solve this ourselves, the market will.
And now we have the soda tax, too, that's coming up that, I mean, literally a 99-cent 2-liter bottle of soda is going to cost $1.81. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know what they could tax next. Do you?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's lucky that Dan doesn't drink soda and he just likes his bourbon straight up.
That's right, exactly. But they already whacked the sin tax of cigars.
Oh, yeah.
Try buy a cigar in Cook County. Thankfully, I don't.
How many? Yeah, but how bad is that? The taxes on cigars.
Usurious.
Really?
Yes, in my opinion.
Okay.
Of course. But I mean, it's just look. They're just unserious. A soda tax. That's the
sugary drink
That's
tax.
the salvation. Here, you know, we're going to fund schools and we're going to fund social services by demanding that people drink and smoke and drink soda, sugary sodas, and run red lights and gamble, because that's the way we try, and we don't do a good job of funding government services in this state.
I thought the Illinois lottery was supposed to help fund education.
Well, I mean, this is the whole.
That's the whole.
It's just another, this money out when we put this money in.
Toll roads were temporary, by the way.
The whole, yeah, exactly. No, I mean, the whole thing is just government aligned against families, and it's amazing to me how many people suffer from the Stockholm syndrome, including in the leafy suburbs in DuPage, Jeannie.
Well, yeah, and it's government aligned against small business. So even their service tax expansion really hit small businesses mostly, and it was for a nominal amount of money. I mean, initially it was like maybe $119 million the first year. That's nothing in a $32 billion budget, and you're going to hit the small business people that provide those services the most, and it's just not fair. So I honestly think that this was not well thought out at all, obviously, and there was no emphasis on growth. We have to grow our economy. That's what we have to do.
You know, what's interesting, too, I was having a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine whose dad is a legislator in the state legislature in Minnesota.
Oh.
And like in Minnesota, as well as Indiana and Wisconsin, they're talking about what to do with budget surplus money. Like,
I'm sorry, what's that you speak of? Budget surplus?
So my friend's dad is a state legislator. He wants to return the money to families in Minnesota. The governor there, Democrat, Dayton, wants to, introduce a new pre-K education program. I mean, that's the conversation that other states around us are having. We're having the conversation of when can the federal government come in and seize Illinois and appoint an emergency manager.
Yeah, just like Puerto Rico. We're there. And we have $14 billion in back bills that we owe people that we contracted for, that we owe real money for services. And, I personally do believe it's immoral to hold that much debt on other people's backs.
Yeah.
And I think we need to solve that. But you can't solve any of this stuff on a tax increase without first demanding the reforms. Because it's only going to go to broken pension systems. It's going to go to broken grant systems, broken Medicaid systems that have no accountability. And until you do that, you can't ensure that any dollar spent is going to the right place.
All right. She is State Representative Jeannie Ives, Republican from Wheaton. Jeannie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up next, your phone calls 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. Into the weather department we go, where it's mostly cloudy, breezy, cool, just kind of a yucky, raw day out there. Definitely bring an umbrella because we'll have brief showers on and off throughout the day. A high of 62 degrees. Tonight, a brief evening shower. Then tomorrow, clouds breaking for some sun. A high of 67 degrees. Anything nice and pleasant on the roadways? Let's get the latest from Jim Telemonte, who joins us in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Thanks, Amy. Not really. It's pretty heavy. Kennedy, now an hour from O'Hare to downtown. Outbound an hour as well. Eden's 31 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 29. The Ike, an hour 17. Thorndale to the post office, outbound an hour. Stevenson, an hour and 11 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. You get the picture. Pretty heavy on the tollways, too. I'm Jim Telemonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, this school year is coming to an end quickly, and maybe you're looking back and thinking, you know what, did not like that experience in the public schools for my son or daughter. Well, if that's you, then pay attention, because halfpriceschools.com is offering a full year of tuition at a private school for, you guessed it, half the price. There's no catch. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. It's really simple. They have schools located in South Holland, Arlington Heights, Chicago, Waukegan. You get the picture. There's schools all over the Chicagoland area, including Northwest Indiana. So make private schools affordable for your family for the first time this year, and do it quickly. These vouchers always sell out. Halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-5236. That's 1-800-500-5236. 1-800-500-5236.
Growing up, your parents took care of your every need. Now you may be providing care for them. Are you worried about mom and dad living alone? Are they getting more forgetful or need help with daily activities? Why not consider a lifestyle that provides support services so they can enjoy as much independence as possible and maintain quality of life? Arborea of Long Grove is an all-new assisted living and memory care community, offering respectful assistance with activities of daily living and specialized memory care. The community features classically designed residential spaces, gracious hospitality services, amenities, and courteous, highly skilled staff to meet every need. Arborea of Long Grove is situated on 10 wooded and lushly landscaped acres off Route 53 in Long Grove. It's a vibrant yet peaceful environment filled with good neighbors, great social activities, and the finest in care. Schedule a tour today. Call 847-383-6737 or visit arboreaoflonggrove.com. That's arboreaoflonggrove.com.
You know, I'm an advocate for MyPillow, so my neighbor Mike came up to me and said, hey, can I try it for a week? And of course, I let him borrow it.
Text from Ann B. Davis's bowling ball on that matter. Your neighbor borrowing, quote unquote, your pillow. Does he also keep a broomstick clad in a bikini and blonde wig? It's a good question. Thank you, Ann B. Davis's bowling ball.
And for the month of May, if you want to buy one yourself, you can still receive the 50% discount on the MyPillow 4-pack. 2 premium MyPillows, 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, all for the price of one, and half off for the month of May. And with MyPillow, really, you'll get into deep sleep faster, stay there longer. I really cannot sleep at night without MyPillow. Our friend Mike Lindell makes them right here in the U.S. of A. and using only American labor. You can wash and dry your MyPillow. By the way, I washed it before I gave it to my neighbor. And they're hypoallergenic. And, of course, you can get a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee if you buy one on your own. So for the month of May, don't forget, get 50% off that 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit mypillow.com. That's 800-489-0201. Promo code Amy.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Ace is your neighborhood place for everything Yeti, from coolers to drinkware. And right now, for the first time ever, Yeti is on sale. During the Ace Memorial Day sale, save 25% on Yeti Rambler stainless steel drinkware. It's virtually indestructible and keeps drinks hot or cold for longer. So hurry into your local Ace and save 25% on Yeti stainless steel drinkware. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members only through June 4th. Excludes Duracoat colors and jugs. See participating stores for details.
The Can-Am Spyder Ready to Ride sales event is here. Shop now and experience the thrill and freedom of the open road this summer. Can-Am Spyder's unique Y-frame design lets you take on every twist and turn with stability and comfort. Hop on one and turn every day into an adventure. Shop now and save up to $3,500 on select 2016 models. Find your ultimate thrill ride at a great price.
Visit iMotorsports in Elmhurst or online at iMotorsportsInc.com.
Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy are talking about Illinois Senate Dems passing a $5 billion tax increase, 32% increase in your state income tax, Illinois families, without any spending reforms. Take a couple calls here. Phil on the northwest side. Philip on the northwest side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Good show and very good talk. I'm a little fed up thinking about all this stuff because I kill myself 100 hours a week. My neighborhood's becoming up for grabs. And I look at this and I think to myself, we literally sell $25 million worth of heroin every single day, not including the rest of the drugs, up and down the 290, up and down the Dan Ryan. No, they're not told. And that's not taxed. And all the aldermen in those areas are in on it and have been for many years. I have cousins all over the place, 91st cousins. One of them was getting their guns from the alderman when he was a gang member before he died. And I just think to myself, this is so crazy. The machine never stops. And just to run one of my trucks, just one, in the Cook County area from Midway to O'Hare, back and forth, it's $500 a week just in tolls. Just in tolls. One truck, just local area. Mm-hmm. And you know something? It never, ever ends. Pretty soon they're going to tax the air. It's when communists are in charge, they sell us shortages, and it's all they do. We're short on food, we're short on water, we're short on air. It just never stops.
Thanks for the call, Phil. Selling us shortages. Very good way to put it. The other Phil in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, guys. I totally agree what the Democrats did yesterday. Crazy. But what are the spending reforms? And before I go further, let's remember a penny saved is a penny earned. So, are you going to turn off the lights at a Friday night football game? That has actually been suggested in a suburban community years ago, and people went nuts. You're going to do what to our community? Where are the kids going to go on a Friday night?
Right.
Are you going to tax real estate investing? Then Scene from Elmwood Park, he's going to go crazy. So everyone's got their hand in the jar. What are we really, really willing to sacrifice? And I don't think anybody, because once you give people something, very hard to take it away.
Yeah, that's true, Phil.
Give a dog a steak, you don't want it.
That's true, Phil. Thanks for the call. Appreciate that. And that's what you just described as the textbook definition of a kleptocracy, which is what Illinois has become. However, there are proposals out there. We're up against the clock, but I would point you to the Illinois Policy Institute, which actually produced a constitutionally balanced budget without a tax increase. And there's a lot of ideas in there. You may like some of them, you may not like a lot of them, but it's not a shortage of ideas. It's a shortage of political will, and it's a shortage of political will with respect to the two guys who've been in the General Assembly for 80 years, Madigan and Cullerton.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of budgets, we'll level up to the federal level and get Steve Moore's reaction to Trump's proposed budget at 7:37.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 53 degrees in Chicago. We have had light rain showers throughout the morning. We're in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. A school near Manchester says it is in shock. They're heartbroken, announcing one of its students, a teenager, Olivia Campbell Hardy, was killed in the Manchester concert attack. Other high schools in the area have been reporting that They have had killed or wounded or injured as well, too, but no names are coming out as of yet. British Prime Minister Theresa May says officials are now increasing the threat level to critical after the Manchester bombing.
It is now concluded, on the basis of today's investigations, that the threat level should be increased for the time being from severe to critical.
That means members of the armed forces are replacing police at key sites and at certain high-profile events. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte says he is considering martial law in many parts of the Philippines in order to protect his people. He believes ISIS has taken a foothold in some parts of the main northern island of Luzon. Democrats are slamming President Trump's first big budget proposal to Congress.
When you add it all up, the Trump budget is comic book villain bad. And just like comic books, it relies on fantasy to make all the numbers work.
Budget Director Mick Mulvaney appears before the House Budget Panel. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin will testify at the tax writing House Ways and Means Committee. Allstate Arena in Rosemont beefing up security following Monday's deadly terror bombing in Manchester, and the city of Chicago has approved a grant from the Cubs of $1 million to pay for dozens of security cameras near Wrigley Field. Cubs down the Giants 4-1. Diamondbacks hold on for a 5-4 win over the White Sox in Arizona. The news, a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's, you can save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit account. 5% on all purchases in-store or online, subject to credit approval, U.S. only. 7:34 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
There's no feeling like grabbing a seat in a comfy chair to look through memories in a photo album. It's so much more enjoyable than looking at a computer or the small screen of a smartphone. An album of photos will last a lifetime. They can't be erased or become victim of a crashed hard drive. Print your photo memories at oneclickpics.com, your online photo center. Whether they're for an album, a gift, or framed for display, you want the very best quality. You can get that from the photo experts at oneclickpics.com. OneClickPics.com is a professional photo printer. You'll be amazed at the quality of your pictures, canvas prints, invitations, or announcements. You'll see details in your photos you've never seen before. And right now, when you buy 25 printed photo cards, you get 15 free. Use promo code 15FREE at checkout. Trust your digital picture memories to the photo technicians trained in every aspect of digital photo production. OneClickPics.com. OneClickPix.com.
7:36. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delays start around 2:00. It's 32 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 35. The Kennedy, 1 hour from O'Hare to downtown. 25 minutes from Montrose, 23 in the Express, and outbound 38 minutes to Montrose, an hour and 4 minutes to O'Hare. The Eisenhower, an hour and 14 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound now an hour 13. Stevenson, looking at an hour and 10 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, outbound 50 minutes. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 21 to Atkinson. Northbound, Cicero to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Veterans Memorial, very heavy now, from I-55 most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. Traffic is a service of Napa Auto Parts. With quality auto parts and more than 90 years of experience, Napa Auto Parts can help you keep just about anything on the road. So stop by your local Napa store and keep it running longer, stronger with Napa know-how. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But first, your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, breezy, and cool today with a brief shower or two throughout the day, high 62. More showers overnight, 51. Clouds should break for some sun tomorrow, high 67. 53 right now. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Health Quest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we're talking about the big government press corps at the Chicago and Springfield levels. Now, talk about it at the federal level. The headlines alone about Trump's proposed budget are really telling. New York Times, Trump's budget cuts deeply into Medicaid and anti-poverty efforts. And Democrats into hysterics over Trump's proposed budget, which, what's the sum total of it? 2% cuts annually to non-defense spending. 2%.
Really? Well, they're calling it the reverse Robin Hood. It's going to hurt, those in need, the poorest.
2% cut
2%.
annually, and that is the end of Western civilization. Of course it is, if your worldview is government-centric. If you need to deliver for dependence on the government because that's your constituency and that's how you maintain your political power. So you can understand the Democrats' hysteria. Wall Street Journal op-ed I thought was very interesting. Noting that this is Bob Kerry's budget that Trump has proposed. Trump launched his first, the Wall Street Journal editorial board writes about Trump's first full budget proposal. Think of it as a vindication of Bob Kerry, the former Nebraska senator, Democrat, and a few other brave Democrats who warned repeatedly in the 90s that failing to reform entitlements would eventually squeeze other progressive programs. Well, here we are. And it includes Mr. Trump imitating Democrats and ducking Social Security and Medicare, which means everything else the government does has to fight for what's left.
Well, one Republican who's against and claims that it's DOA is, of course, Senator John McCain.
Is it dead on arrival?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, senior economist for CNN, and former Donald Trump advisor. Steve, Bob Kerry's budget?
Morning, guys. By the way, I'm sorry again. I have to chastise you this morning. You said this budget cuts spending. It does not cut spending. Spending goes up by $100 billion under this budget in the first year, and every subsequent year. So you're speaking Washington speak.
Well, wait a second.
You're speaking Washington speak. It's not a cut. I mean, if spending goes up from $4 trillion to $4.1 trillion, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a spending cut.
Well, I agree, but isn't it 2% cuts annually to non-defense spending?
Some of the programs are going to be cut.
Yes.
But the point is, other programs are going to grow even faster than inflation rates. So overall, this budget does not cut the spending. Now, look, I loved Nick. I think Nick Mulvaney, who's Trump's budget director, is shaping up to be the best budget director ever. This is a great budget if you're a fiscal conservative, if you want to cut unnecessary, wasteful programs. And I loved his statement. Guys, Dan, I mean, people were fainting when he said this. If you collect food stamps and you're collecting these government benefits, welfare benefits, we need you to work. We need you to work. If you're able-bodied and you're able to work, you should work.
Crazy talk.
And giving people a hand up, not a handout. And my God, the liberal welfare establishment went completely crazy. You're going to require people to actually work for their benefits? That's the worst thing I've ever heard. That's cruel.
Well, he said that there'll be a balanced budget in 10 years, but that's with a 3% growth rate. Is that possible? I mean, that can't be guaranteed.
You got it. Yep. And I wrote this 2 weeks ago in the Wall Street Journal that we can attain 3% growth. The reason, that the debt doubled under Barack Obama, the debt went from $9.5 trillion to almost $19 trillion under Obama, was that we saw such meager growth. You cannot get to a balanced budget, ladies and gentlemen, if the economy grows at less than 2%. You just don't get the revenue growth. Now, that's why the tax cut is really so essential. You've got to get the tax cut done to get the economy moving again. We have the most uncompetitive business tax structure in the entire world. This is a very good budget. It's going to grow the economy. It's going to shrink Washington. It is going to drain the swamp. And guess what? When you call for draining the swamp, people in the swamp aren't too happy about that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and the reality is, I mean, for the budget not to increase deficits in the short term, all you really have to have is real economic growth above the rate the government borrows. So, I mean,
this was a key question that Amy asked, and I'm so glad you asked this, Amy, because there was a front page story in the Wall Street Journal about, I think it was a week ago Wednesday, saying all economists agree we can't grow at 3%. It's impossible. It's like, what? The long-term growth rate of this U.S. economy from 1950 to 2000 was 3.3%. So you're saying we can't get to below average growth? That's ridiculous. Now, what liberals are saying is we tried everything we could think of. We had minimum wage increases. We had tax increases on the rich. We had the $800 billion stimulus plan. We had Obamacare. We had the Fed flood the economy with cheap money, and we weren't able to produce 3% growth. Therefore, nobody can create it. Well, that's because you didn't do the right things. Everything that Obama did on the economy, and Bush, by the way, for his last term, everything they did was wrong. And it actually drained the economy of growth. We can get that back. I mean, look, I'm shooting for 4% growth. I told Trump we can get 4%. So to say we can have 3% growth is a layup. I mean, that's subpar growth. We got to get people in the workforce. We got to get people working and off welfare.
And that's your head talking, Steve. But I want to speak to your heart.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't have one. I'm a conservative. I don't have
yeah, right. Because Hillary Clinton has said that this budget contains, quote, an unimaginable level of cruelty.
Right. Well, yeah, what can I say? That's we conservatives just don't have, of course, liberals don't have brains. But, look, the idea that you should require people to work for benefits, that's something I bet even my liberal friends agree with that. I mean, if a government's going to give you a benefit, you have to do something in return for it.
Well, it's the work part that kind of bothers me. But, I mean, how much is going to be cut from Medicaid?
Medicaid, what we want to do on Medicaid is a couple things. The most important thing to do with Medicaid, first of all, why not a work requirement for Medicaid? A lot of people on Medicaid are not working. If you're going to get a government benefit, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to go out and get a job, or the government's going to give you a job. And second of all, turn it back to the states. Let the states figure out ways to reduce the cost of this. Co-pays. You go into the emergency room, you're going to have to pay $10 or something like that. Letting people out of nursing homes and using home care as an alternative to nursing homes, which is actually better for the elderly. Those kinds of things can save a lot of money. I guarantee you, though, that if you have Washington try to find the one-size-fits-all solution, they're not going to come up with it. The solutions are going to come from the states. That's what happened in the 1990s when Bill Clinton was president. We had a Republican Congress. We reformed welfare. By the way, we required work for welfare. And you know what happened when we did that? When we required people to get a job? We saw a 50% decline in the number of people on welfare. And we tracked those people. We found most of them, the vast majority of them, got jobs. They actually climbed the economic ladder. Many of them got into the middle class. How in the world, Dan, is that cruel?
Dan?
Hillary Clinton said so. That's how.
Well, they're saying it shows compassion for the rich, too, and they call it the reverse Robin Hood. So are any Republicans backing President Trump on this budget?
No, of course not. Congress loves to play Santa Claus. They don't want to cut anything. They don't want to trim expenditures. They want to spend. Look, Amy, I go back to the Reagan years. It was the same thing. Reagan would propose these budgets where we'd try to act fiscally responsible, and he'd turn it over to Congress. Didn't matter which party was in control. Congress likes to spend money. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have a $20 trillion debt.
Well,
I don't want to ruin people's day, but that's just a fact.
Well,
it doesn't matter if they have an hour or a
yeah,
you want to spend your money.
Okay, but that's all well and good, but there's a problem there that Trump needs to confront, because if that's the position that Congress takes, then Republicans aren't going to be in charge of it after 2018.
Well, that's true. They're going to own it. They're going to own it. So they better get this tax cut done to get the economy moving again. I do think that, look, Obamacare is going to be repealed. That's $1 trillion of budget savings over the next 10 years. I do think some of these welfare reforms are going to happen. But, some of the cuts in the domestic programs you're talking about, they're not going to do that. I've been to this movie 100 times before. They are almost incapable of doing it. But I'll give you one statistic on the way out. If we can hold federal spending to 2.5% growth per year for the next 10 years, we can afford to do the entire Trump tax cut. And in 10 years, we will have a balanced budget. So you can do this. The numbers add up. But you're right. That means you're going to have to do something about these mega entitlements that nobody seems to want to touch. They're politically untouchable right now. And if that happens, we're going to keep running these debts, because 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every single day.
He is Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, senior economist for CNN, former Trump advisor. Steve, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Okay.
And he's gone.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.Pro Answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, problems for the Rio Olympics, even though the games ended months ago. But first, here's your forecast today. Mostly cloudy, breezy, cool, just kind of a yucky day. Bring your umbrella, bring a jacket. We're only going to get into the low 60s for a high and a brief shower or two. And then tonight, a brief evening shower. And then tomorrow, we get a little break. We're going to have some clouds and then some sunshine. Much needed sunshine by the afternoon, a high of 67 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, Jim Talamonte. Donde está mi amigo Jim?
Jim is with Steve.
Sorry
Moore.
about that, Amy. We had a momentary Olympic-type gaffe there. But on the tollways, getting heavier now. The Tri-State's really slow northbound from Cicero Avenue all the way up to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Southbound, there's a delay from 21 to Atkinson. Reagan Tollway, it is slow going from 25 all the way to 355, and then from 83 to the Tri-State. The Veterans Memorial, stop and go I-55 most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. The Edens is 32 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Kennedy, an hour. O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour and 4 minutes. The Ike, an hour and 14 minutes either way between Thorndale and the Loop. Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes, 355 to the Drive, outbound 50 minutes. The Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. At southbound Lakeshore Drive, it's now 39 minutes, Hollywood to Monroe. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher & Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher & Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher & Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
Hey, the Bolingbrook Golf Club. It's the location of our annual golf outing this year. Sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford, but there's more to do than just golf at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Celebrate Independence Day at the Bolingbrook Golf Club this year, complete with food, fun, and of course, an excellent fireworks show. So find out all the details by visiting bolingbrookgolfclub.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome.
I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 15-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. President Trump's victory produced a plethora of leftist think pieces plotting their escape from their coastal bubbles, so they're never so blindsided again. After a 6-month probationary period, can we finally dismiss as disingenuous their intellectual curiosity? During that time, the left has written more Russian fiction than Boris Pasternak. The budding totalitarians on college campuses have attacked professors, shouted down the education secretary, and argued that white men do not enjoy First Amendment rights. In Chicago, a group of nasty women hosted an art exhibit fundraiser for Planned Parenthood featuring an anti-Trump painting stained with the vaginal blood from the artist. In Phoenix, the city used taxpayer dollars to help finance a billboard depicting Trump as a money-grubbing Nazi. Storied MIT linguistics professor Noam Chomsky claimed recently that the Republican Party is the greatest threat to mankind's survival in the history of the world. I don't see much common ground to be forged here, and frankly, I'm not terribly interested in indulging lunacy. If I'm a deplorable, then they are the unsalvageables. I say we let them stay scrolled away in their bubbles, and we pop them again in November of 2018.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Ace is your neighborhood place for everything Yeti, from coolers to drinkware. And right now, for the first time ever, Yeti is on sale. During the Ace Memorial Day sale, save 25% on Yeti Rambler stainless steel drinkware. It's virtually indestructible and keeps drinks hot or cold for longer. So hurry into your local Ace and save 25% on Yeti stainless steel drinkware. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members only through June 4th. Excludes Duracoat colors and jugs. See participating stores for details.
The Can-Am Spyder Ready to Ride sales event is here. Shop now and experience the thrill and freedom of the open road this summer. Can-Am Spyder's unique Y-frame design lets you take on every twist and turn with stability and comfort. Hop on one and turn every day into an adventure. Shop now and save up to $3,500 on select 2016 models. Find your ultimate thrill ride at a great price.
Visit iMotorsports in Elmhurst or online at iMotorsportsInc.com.
Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Folks, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
They're real people. They're very easy to do business with, and they made the process that could be extremely stressful and complicated very stress-free and simple. I really appreciated the level of attention that was given to me. You know, I didn't feel like I was a number or just, another person in line to take care of. I felt like, we built a really good connection, and they made the process very, very pain-free.
Remember, nobody values your business more than Townstone Financial, and I'm always available to answer your questions. Call me now Barry Sterner, 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111. Or go to townstone.com.
Listen to the Townstone Financial Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. here on AM 560. Townstone Financial is an Indiana, Wisconsin, Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
Whether you own or rent, you know there's nothing quite like a fresh coat of paint to make your home look and feel new again. Chances are one of the rooms in your home could use some fresh paint. Whether it's a full interior or exterior repaint, a creative mural, or just a fun accent wall, getting your home or business painted can be difficult and expensive. From searching for a qualified professional to choosing colors to negotiating a price. Not anymore. At PaintZen.com, we make painting fast, simple, and affordable. Quotes are free and there's never any extra fees or surprises. Just go to PaintZen.com, use code FRESH, and see how easy it is to choose from thousands of high-quality Benjamin Moore paint colors and price out any size job from one room to an entire house. Just go to PaintZen.com and take the pain out of painting. That's PaintZen.com, code FRESH, and get a fast, free, no-hassle quote. Visit PaintZen.com and use code FRESH to get a free quote for any home painting project. Go to PaintZen.com now. Use code FRESH. PaintZen.com, code FRESH.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we ended the show yesterday by noting that Roger Moore passed away, the great Roger Moore.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, Mark Haynes, posted on Twitter this great story about Roger Moore. I wanted to share it. You should follow me on Twitter because I find these gems.
Oh, yeah, please follow Dan Proft on Twitter.
Mark Haynes, as a 7-year-old, about 1983, in the days before first-class lounges at airports, I was with my granddad in the Nice airport and saw Roger Moore sitting at the departure gate reading a paper. I told my granddad I'd just seen James Bond and asked if we could go over so I could get his autograph. My granddad, no idea who James Bond or Roger Moore were. So he walked over and he popped in front of Roger Moore with the words, "My grandson says you're famous. Can you sign this?" As charming as you'd expect, Roger asks my name, duly signs the back of my plane ticket, a fulsome note of best wishes. I'm ecstatic, but as we head back to our seats, I glance down at the signature. It's hard to decipher, but it definitely doesn't say James Bond. My granddad looks at it, half figures out it says Roger Moore. I have absolutely no idea who that is, and my heart sinks. I tell my granddad he signed it wrong, that he's put someone else's name, so my granddad heads back to Roger Moore.
Oh, my gosh, no.
Holding the ticket, which he's only just signed. I remember staying by our seats and my granddad saying, he says you've signed the wrong name. He says your name is James Bond. Roger Moore's face crinkled up with the realization, and he beckoned me over. Remember, this kid's 8 years old.
Right.
When I was by his knee, he leaned over, looked from side to side, raised an eyebrow, and in a hushed voice said to me, "I have to sign my name as Roger Moore because otherwise Blofeld might find out I was here." He asked me not to tell anyone that I'd just seen James Bond, and he thanked me for keeping his secret. I went back to our seats, my nerves absolutely jangling, and then this guy, I know we're up against the clock, but this guy grows up. He's 30 years old. He's filming, and he meets James Bond again.
And he remembered?
He told him about it, and James Bond essentially did another, Roger Moore did essentially another James Bond to the 30-year-old after he recounted the story. Just that brilliant, generous man. So I just wanted to share that story.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the ladies are back, Diamond and Silk. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Allstate Arena beefing up security. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He calls it the honor of a lifetime. To meet His Holiness, Pope Francis, President Trump tweeting a short time ago right before taking off from Rome, writing he leaves the Vatican more determined than ever to pursue peace in our world. Fox's Courtney Walsh live at the Vatican.
Yes, Dave. Well, President Trump told Italy's prime minister that the Pope is really good and that they had a fantastic meeting. The Vatican also appeared pleased, noting in a statement that the cordial discussions between the two leaders focused on a joint commitment in favor of life and freedom of worship. Another topic, a collaboration between the church and the U.S. in healthcare, education, and assistance to immigrants. Initially, Pope Francis early on appeared very somber when meeting the president, but definitely warmed up after exchanging gifts with the Trump family. President Trump left saying, "I will not forget what you said." Dave?
According to the president, is now flying to Brussels for a meeting of NATO leaders tomorrow. 2 days after a terrorist bombed the Ariana Grande concert in Britain.
Police have arrested another 3 people in possible connection to this attack. They found them in homes in the southern part of this city.
Fox's Greg Palcott in Manchester, where police are trying to determine if the suicide bomber acted alone or had help.
New figures on the brutality of this attack. Along with the 22 killed, we now know that 64 people remain hospitalized in this area. 20 remain in critical condition, and many of those, sadly, are young people.
Britain's terror threat level is now at the highest it can go. Bill Cosby's back in court this morning in Pittsburgh. Day 3 of selecting a jury that'll be taken to suburban Philadelphia. During Cosby's trial, he'll be sequestered. He's accused of drugging and sexually assaulting a woman.
New figures.
Defense lawyers are accusing prosecutors of trying to keep people of color off the jury. Just one African-American person has been seated in the jury that, so far, consists of 7 men and 4 women.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers, Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
53 degrees in Chicago. Mostly cloudy skies at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage Warranty. Chicago Teachers Union demanding that Mayor Emanuel fire Chicago Public Schools CEO Forrest Claypool after the CTU's vote of no confidence.
I know Forrest Claypool wants to attack us and silence us to scare other teachers who advocate for special education students and also for black and brown students, but we will not be intimidated and we'll keep fighting back.
The announcement comes after Emanuel and CPS laid out plans to borrow around $900 million in short-term debt to stay afloat. Chicago receiving $1 million from the Cubs in a grant to pay for dozens of security cameras near Wrigley Field. Wrigleyville Alderman Tom Tunney says the new cameras won't be installed for 4 to 6 months. However, Allstate Arena in Rosemont will beef up security following the deadly terror bombing in Manchester, in addition to already stiff patrols and layers of security. John Lester goes the distance. Cubs down the Giants 4-1 at Wrigley. Diamondbacks hold on for a 5-4 win over the White Sox. The news is a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's business credit account. 5% on all purchases in-store or online, subject to credit approval, U.S. only. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Tiffany is reporting a better-than-expected quarter, even though its sales at stores open at least a year declined. Tiffany's worldwide sales dropped 3%. Sales were stronger in the Asia-Pacific region, but were weaker than expected in the U.S. Today, the Federal Reserve releases minutes from its meeting earlier this month. Investors will be looking for signs of whether the Fed will raise interest rates at its next meeting in mid-June. Amazon.com is about to open its first New York City bookstore. Ironically, it'll be located in the shops at Columbus Circle, the mall that once had a Borders bookstore. That actual space is now an H&M clothing store. Amazon Books will not accept cash. You can use a credit or debit card, and Prime members can use the Amazon app on their smartphone. The Dow closed up 43 yesterday. NASDAQ added 5. S&P gained 4. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
When news breaks,
there was absolute panic.
I heard a loud bang, which sounded like a train crash or maybe very loud thunderstorm.
only one station in Chicago has you covered.
It appears to be, again, an act of Muslim terror in Europe.
Breaking news.
Pro-Islamic State social media accounts called upon followers to quote-unquote hunt your prey.
Opinion.
It's heartbreaking because so many people this morning are looking for their loved ones.
Insight.
Evil losers.
This is AM 560, The Answer.
When you get in your car, you program your destination into the GPS. You need the best directions to get to where you want to be. The same is true for retirement. You need a voice to guide you along the way. And in Chicago, that voice is Jack Taboda. Join Jack every Saturday morning at 7 right here on 560 The Answer. Jack's nearly 40 years of experience can help make your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street. Take that first step. Tune in Saturday mornings at 7 for retirement planning with Jack Taboda of Taboda and Associates.
ADT presents What to Consider When Considering Home Security. An ADT sign is more than a sign. It's a line in the sand. On one side, your family. On the other, an uncertain world.
For over 140 years, more people have chosen ADT to help prevent crime than anyone else. Get ADT starting at just $28.99 a month.
Tested, trusted, proven ADT.
With 36-month contract for licensing and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
The Can-Am Spyder Ready to Ride sales event is here. Shop now and experience the thrill and freedom of the open road this summer. Can-Am Spyder's unique Y-frame design lets you take on every twist and turn with stability and comfort. Hop on one and turn every day into an adventure. Shop now and save up to $3,500 on select 2016 models. Find your ultimate thrill ride at a great price.
Visit iMotorsports in Elmhurst or online at iMotorsportsInc.com.
Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
8:06. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's pretty heavy on the expressways. The Eden's 27 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 36. The Kennedy 55 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 24 from Montrose, 23 on the express, outbound 39 minutes to Montrose, an hour to the airport. The Eisenhower's now an hour and a half from Thorndale to downtown, an hour and 4 minutes from Manheim. Outbound an hour and 12 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 50 minutes. The Ryan 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive really slow southbound Hollywood to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson, northbound Roosevelt to Jackson. Tri-State southbound slow 132 to 176. Northbound Cicero to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Adams Tollway slow Lee to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway from 25 to 355. York to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial delays are from I-55 most of the way to St. Charles. And Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. And our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Breezy and cool with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day and night with brief showers into the evening. We'll have a high today 64, low tonight 51. Some breaks of sun tomorrow with a high 69, then becoming mostly cloudy at night, low tomorrow night 51. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
53 at O'Hare, 54 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560 The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So another big day of testimony before congressional committees yesterday. Obama CIA Director John Brennan, as well as Trump DNI Director Dan Coats before the House Intelligence Committee. And the real takeaway from the events days involved Brennan and his exchange with South Carolina Representative Trey Gowdy, who is usually taking the lead to prosecute the case on behalf of getting to the truth, really.
Right.
And John Brennan knows what he doesn't know, and he doesn't know if Trump colluded with the Russians.
There are a bunch of words that start with C floating around. I ask you about collusion, coordination, and conspiracy, and you used the word contact. And I think in a previous answer, you did a really good job of establishing that contact could be benign or not benign. So was it contact that you saw? Was it something more than contact? What is the nature of what you saw?
I saw interaction, aware of interaction, that again raised questions in my mind about what was the true nature of it. But I don't know. I don't have sufficient information to make a determination whether or not such cooperation or complicity or collusion was taking place, but I know that there was a basis to have individuals pull those threads.
So I don't know maybe where we stand, borrowing from Jeff Bridges.
Yes,
Crazy Heart.
exactly.
Remember Crazy Heart? Great
Oh,
movie.
I love that movie.
Great movie. So Krauthammer picked up on that exchange, and he said this about the there, and why it seems there is a there, even though no there has been presented.
There's no evidence.
And I'm going to stop saying there now.
I don't think I've ever seen a situation where nobody can locate the crime. There are all these accusations. Collusion is thrown around all the time. We've had a year of investigations. We've had opportunity after opportunity for some official to say, here's what happened. And there's been none of that. Now, there may be. We could get an avalanche of evidence of collusion, but so far, there is none. President insists there is no there, but he acts as if the there is everywhere. And that, I think, is the origin of what's happened here.
But of course, the left-wing media took away the headline. Brennan says that Russia brazenly interfered with our election. Then that little footnote is, but he has no evidence.
Right, and it was the New York Times. Yeah, the New York Times was like, Brennan expresses concern about Russian contacts. He didn't characterize the nature of those contacts. He said, I don't know what the nature was. But, I mean, it's a two-pronged problem that's exacerbating this Russian collusion story. One is, of course, built into it, the big government press corps, the D.C. press corps, that wants to take Trump out. And then the other is, as Krauthammer said, behaving like there's a there when there's no evidence to suggest there is. For more on this, we're pleased to have back again the First Ladies of Punditry, straight out of North Carolina. Diamond and Silk join us. Diamond and Silk, pleasure to have you back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Now, I know you are fervent Trump supporters, but does Krauthammer have a point that Trump is making the situation worse than it needs to be by appearing to be trying to cover up something that he doesn't need to cover up?
I think that the media is making it worse than what it appears to be. They are the one that keep pushing this Russia story. We keep having these hearings where nobody have any proof of any colliding or colluding with Russia, but we still, taxpayers' dollars is paying for all of this foolishness. And I think that's where the problem lies. And I like how Silk sometimes put it. Silk, how do you say that without
accusations, allegations, and speculations only equal accusations, allegations, and speculations without accurate information only equal fake news.
Wow, that's better than Pythagoras. That is an equation that we need to memorialize. Very good.
So
So people don't have any accurate information. They're going off what somebody either leaked to the media or what somebody said or what they think. And I think it's all, you know what, it do a disservice to the American people because we like the fact that he's creating jobs or the stock market is booming because that affects people's portfolios. You know, people are ready to get their coins and come up. So pushing this Russia story, I mean, people are appalled by this here. And then if you look at the left, you see the left keep pushing his story, keep pushing something we got a smoking gun. But these are the same people that don't have any solutions, and they're creating more problems. Because within the first 100 and some days, what have the Democrats done to help the American people besides push this story to try to bring out this? And you have one guy on the floor, Al Green, talking about impeach the president. Impeach a sitting president with no proof or nothing.
Well, the left's main agenda is to get him removed from office. They want him impeached, and I think they'll stop at nothing to make sure that happens.
But see, they don't understand that's how they're going to lose again. People are appalled because they can't accept their defeat and look their wounds and move on. It's time for us to move on. We have so many great things that we want to do, and when we see our president overseas trying to bring about peace and unity, you know, it really makes us look good. But when overseas look over here and see all of this chaos, there's no stability. And what we're going to have to do as Republicans, as people, the voters that voted for President Trump, is we're going to have to be stable. We're going to have to show that we do have stability, and we're going to have to move the agenda forward so that the wall can be built and so that other good things can happen, not just for us, but for everybody. Even the ones that's complaining.
All right, Diamond and Silk, let me ask you about the budget that Trump proposed, which has been described by Hillary Clinton as an unimaginable level of cruelty because he reduces over time the non-defense spending in the federal budget by 2% annually.
Okay, but listen to this here. Now, everybody want to get upset about the fact that, oh, my God, it's going to hurt the poor and the vulnerable. Programs are still going to be there for the poor and the vulnerable. But you got to understand that Obama, didn't he expand Medicaid? Didn't he expand that? Another thing is what I believe that the president is trying to do is get some of these people off of some of these services and able to be dependent upon themselves.
That's right.
That's what I think that he's trying to do. So I don't think everybody needs to just go rogue, start acting, oh, my God, he's going to hurt this person, he's going to hurt that person. He's doing what's best for all. And if we don't do something, we're going to go in a hole. We're going to continue to rob Peter to pay Paul. So now you have a real CEO up there to say, hold on, wait a minute. We're going to have to cut in some places to make sure that we get this deficit paid out. We cannot continue with a high deficit or we're going to be in a hole always.
Right. And he wants to make you independent, not dependent.
That's right.
All right. Something else that happened this morning that was quite historical was President Trump meeting the Pope for the first time. And I don't know if you ladies heard, but he asked First Lady Melania, he said, what are you giving him? Are you feeding him pizza? Do you think that that's a little fat shaming there?
Yeah.
A little jab at your president?
A little fun at the hands of the pontiff.
No, look, I'm not going to get into that. No. You know what? My president we were so proud of him. Because he's going over, he's making these stops. He met with the Pope, and we're just proud of everything that he's doing over there. So I'm not going to I'm not going to get into I'm not going to make a controversy out of that.
All right. Now let me ask you this: I'm sorry, Silk. You had something?
There's nothing wrong with eating pizza.
No, there is absolutely nothing wrong with eating pizza. That is correct. Yes. That is absolutely correct. That's something that's universal, that transcends partisan divides. So, ladies, there's been a lot of reports about a potential shakeup coming early next month after President Trump gets back from his travels overseas. A shakeup, particularly in the comm staff in the White House, maybe some reassignment of roles for Sean Spicer. And I just wonder if Diamond and Silk have been approached to consider being the tandem at the dais dealing with the Washington press corps on a daily basis, being the 2-for-1 press secretary to one President Trump.
No. But what I can tell you is this. If the president get back and he have to do some shake-up, then clean house. Because let me tell you something, the buck stops with certain people. Certain people should know things. You know, the president have a chief of staff for a reason. And certain people are put in places for a reason. And if it looks like that the job is not being done, they can't do the job, but the job is overwhelming, then some people do need to be replaced.
That's right. Repeal and replace.
That's right.
Well, do you
Repeal and replace the staff.
Well, do you ladies like the work of Sean Spicer so far?
Listen, I love everybody up there, but I'm just going to tell you this here. Some people, I don't think is serving our president the best that they can. Listen, okay, let's bag it up.
Bag it up.
We can talk about communications, but the buck stops with the chief of staff. The chief of staff is supposed to make sure each department is put in place with people that pushes the president's agenda.
That's right.
Now, I'm not blaming it on one or the other, but I do hope that when the president get back, he clean house.
That's right.
Period. Put the right people around him and go get those people that was out there on the campaign trail with him that had his back. That's who I want to see up there because those are the people that's going to be the most loyal to him.
I love it. They say that converts make the greatest zealots, and we're talking to two GOP converts in Diamond and Silk, and they are the greatest zealots for Donald Trump. And I hope there is a recurring communication role on behalf of the campaign, maybe the shadow re-election campaign while they're in the governance mode for Diamond and Silk, because common sense and endlessly entertaining. Diamond and Silk, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
And you catch them on YouTube, The Viewer's View. That's their YouTube channel, The Viewer's View. Diamond and Silk, great. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And they joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
I'm back to the Pope thing. Remember when the Pope told Donald Trump, if you're building walls and not bridges, then you're not Christian? I mean, those are some harsh tone. But he also, they exchanged gifts and broke the ice with the joke about the pizza.
And then Trump gave him a signed copy of Crippled America.
No, gave him a copy of Martin Luther King Jr. books. And then the Pope gave him an olive tree medal that he signed for, peace.
And Trump gave him a diorama of the wall he's going to build on the southern border.
Forecast for today. Clouds and rain on and off, a high of 62 degrees. And then tonight, a passing shower or two. And tomorrow, we get a little break, thank goodness. We're going to have some clouds, but then some sunshine. Woohoo! A high in the upper 60s. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center, where it's always hot. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Especially on the inbound Eisenhower, Amy. Although it's actually improved a little bit. You're looking at an hour and 18 minutes now from Thorndale to downtown. It was an hour and a half. From Mannheim, it's 54 minutes to get downtown. Outbound, an hour and 4 minutes to Thorndale. Some of those delays are on the extension between York and Mill. The Eden's 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Kennedy, 55 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound, it's an hour. The Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound an hour. It's a crash at Pulaski in the right lane. Ryan is 27 minutes from 95th to downtown. Tri-State, southbound still 132 to 176. Northbound from Cicero to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway is very heavy, 25 to 355. And York to the Tri-State. Northbound Veterans Memorial still very slow as well. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
That's Lisbeth. She doesn't know it, but she owes her life to a change in public opinion. Our younger generation of women is turning the tide of public opinion concerning abortion. The most recent statistics show that more women facing unwanted pregnancies are choosing life compared to 15 years ago. Many wonder why, if a pregnant woman and her unborn child are murdered, it's a double homicide. Yet they ask, why isn't abortion a crime? More women now value life, even if their unwanted child is to be placed for adoption, because they may feel like they can never forgive themselves of an abortion, even if the law does. Lake County Right to Life, helping young women choose courage over convenience. LCRTL.org. That's LCRTL.org. Visit Lake County Right to Life on Twitter and Facebook, or call 847-223-7022.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-617-4432. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-617-4432. That's 1-800-617-4432. 1-800-617-4432.
Hey, did you know that the cell phone you're holding right now is likely supporting the liberal agenda of Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders? It's true. Most of the big cell phone companies contribute to the pro-abortion agenda, gun control, and open borders. That's why you should use that cell phone in your hand and call 1-800-A-PATRIOT to switch to Patriot Mobile, the nation's only conservative cell phone company. Patriot Mobile offers the same great nationwide coverage you're used to, the newest cell phones, and they'll even buy out your current contract with credits up to $500 per line or $1,500 per account. And when you switch to Patriot Mobile, they'll donate up to 5% of their monthly proceeds to the conservative cause of your choice at no extra cost to you. You can bring your number and your phone or get new ones. Call 1-800-A-PATRIOT right now to get a plan and device that fits your needs, or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe. Use promo code Joe and they'll waive the activation fee. 1-800-A-PATRIOT or patriotmobile.com/Joe. promo code Joe.
All Nissans are created equal. It's Nissan of St. Charles that makes the difference. At Nissan of St. Charles, we go the extra mile to make sure your happiness lasts as long as you own your vehicle. Every new Nissan or used vehicle we sell comes with our exclusive Lifetime Advantage warranty. So when you get your new Nissan at Nissan of St. Charles, you'll drive with peace of mind knowing it's backed by our exclusive warranty that lasts the lifetime of your vehicle. And be sure to ask about our Lifetime Tire program. Where else can you get a great deal on a new Nissan, a Lifetime Advantage warranty, and a Lifetime Tire program? The little things make all the difference. While all Nissans may be created equal, the difference is clearly Nissan of St. Charles. Located on North Avenue in the heart of St. Charles. Or visit us online at nissanofstcharles.com. That's nissanofstcharles.com. Nissan of St. Charles. Experience the difference.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
AM 560, The Answer. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Well, real quick, we were talking about, President Trump's visit to Italy, and during the commercial, I don't know if you have seen this, but Michelle Obama is in Italy with Barack. They're also there, too. They're visiting Italy before they go to Germany for his big speech with Angela Merkel. And
big 35-car convoy that brought them in. I mean, it's just so over the top.
Right, and he's still, the rock star, and people are still fawning all over the Obamas. I get it, but she dressed like a street whore yesterday. She had on an outfit. Mike, Scott, wait till you see it. Oh my God, he's putting his hand and his head in his hands. Wait till you see it. She's half naked.
Wow.
I don't know what happened with her.
I'm not going to look at it if that's an accurate description of.
No, I mean, she's a beautiful lady. Two bills.
Oh, yeah.
But put some clothes on. I mean, I don't know if the wind caught her off guard, but her shirt, she didn't even, you could almost see her left, you know what?
Whoa.
The left.
Janet Jackson, a wardrobe malfunction?
I'm hoping and praying that was just a wardrobe malfunction because that is embarrassing.
I look to see what's on the inside, so I don't even acknowledge
I'm gonna pull up
people's
that picture.
exterior.
I'm going to make you look at that picture.
My goodness. Wow.
Because I have not seen anything like it.
That is
in a long time.
That is vivid. And I guess, she's got to go relax fit these days.
Remember when the first time they took their trip to Martha's Vineyard and she got off the plane and she had on cut-off jean shorts and her hair wasn't done and people were, because I have family that lives on Martha's Vineyard. Of course I do.
Yeah,
and
sure.
people were appalled. I mean, that's the first lady. So after that, she got a stylist and then started dressing it up. But now that her stylist is gone, she's going back to her old ways. And I'm being very catty. And I know.
No, it's outrageous.
What's wrong? How could I talk? I wear activewear all the time,
It's outrageous. Oh, my gosh. A beautiful woman to be denigrated like that by you. I just won't have any part of it.
I'm sorry. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We turn from the ridiculous to the serious, a suicide of a Naperville North student, and whether or not the school and the local police bear some culpability for this tragedy at 8:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 54 degrees in Chicago in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Top British officials are updating reporters right now. They say the Manchester suicide bomber had recently returned from Libya. Interior Minister Amber Rudd said Salman Abdi was known to security services before the Monday bombing and probably did not act alone when he killed 22 at the Manchester Arena following a concert. Police made 3 arrests today in South Manchester but provided no other details. French officials have also stepped forward in recent minutes, saying they were aware of Abedi as well. Former CIA Director John Brennan says Russian meddling in the presidential election, in his mind, was brazen interference.
Russia brazenly interfered in our 2016 presidential election process, and that they undertook these activities despite our strong protests and explicit warning that they not do so.
Brennan said Russia's goals were to undermine America's public faith in the electoral process. Congressional Budget Office has been crunching numbers on the GOP Health Insurance Reform Act and will give its final report later today. The nonpartisan agency provides its analysis on the AHCA this afternoon. In the wake of the Manchester bombings, Allstate Arena in Rosemont beefing up security, they say, following the terrorist attack. More police were patrolling the venue last night than normal. Chicago receiving a $1 million grant from the Cubs to pay for dozens of security cameras near Wrigley Field. However, Alderman Tom Tunney says the new cameras will not be installed for another 4 to 6 months. And officials at the Hines Veterans Administration Hospital say they've addressed the findings of cockroaches in food preparation areas and on serving trays that were actually handed to vets. The VA Inspector General last year found the problem was persistent and hospital leadership knew about the unsanitary conditions and did not resolve the problem. Hines spokesman Rick Fox now says hospital officials are working on a long-term solution that includes a remodel of their kitchen. John Lester goes the distance. Cubs down the Giants 4-1 at Wrigley Field. Diamondbacks have to hold on for a 5-4 win over the White Sox. Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera, Todd Frazier all go deep. And we'll see if top-seeded Northwestern can take home an NCAA Women's Golf Championship as they try to squeeze in as many holes as they can in between the rain at Rich Harvest Farms. The news, a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's business credit account. 5% on all purchases in-store or online, subject to credit approval, U.S. only. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes the Trump administration needs to fix the leak.
Let's take a moment to talk about these leaks, because there's somebody or bodies within the Trump administration who want to do them in. There's no question about this. It's felonious to leak a lot of the information that has been leaked to the media over the first few months of the Trump presidency.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Skip traffic and save money with Metra's 96% on-time dependability and 10-ride ticket that makes every 10th ride free. For fares and schedules, visit metrorail.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
8:34. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy has delays from Austin to the Burn Circle. It's an hour and 2 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 39 minutes from Montrose, 42 in the Express. Outbound 55 minutes to O'Hare. Edens is 21 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound 35. The Eisenhower. An hour and 18 minutes Thorndale to the post office. 54 minutes from Mannheim. Outbound 56 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's an hour. The Ryan is 27 minutes from 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive. Delays are from Hollywood to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. Tri-State southbound, slow 132 to 176. Northbound, Cicero to LaGrange Road. There's a crash in the two center lanes. That's from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial still very heavy. I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. Butterfield to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. 53 has delays too, especially southbound. Traffic is from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. That's on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy in Kevin Snyder's forecast, breezy and cool. Brief shower or two possible, high 62. Could have some evening showers ahead, low 51. Tomorrow, clouds will break for some sun and a high of 67. Currently 54. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Bolingbrook Golf Club. For tee times and more, visit BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
Hey, Joe Walsh, man, coming up tonight, Trump proposes a budget that actually cuts spending, and neither political party likes it. We'll talk about it when Freedom returns at 5.
Dan and Amy, and so this story comes to us from the Chicago Tribune. Stacey St. Clair reporting. This is the story of Corey Walgren, a 16-year-old Naperville North high school student who committed suicide.
Honor roll student, played football, was on the hockey. Never in trouble.
Here's what happened. He had what's being described as a sexual encounter with a 16-year-old classmate. That girl reported the incident to the dean because she believed that he had done two things. One is recorded their encounter, and two is shared it with his friends. The dean at Naperville North called police. The young man, Corey, no criminal history, never been in trouble at school, was suspected of having a video on his phone of a consensual sexual encounter.
Which actually turned out just to be an audio, not a video.
He was called into the dean's office. There with a police officer and the campus dean, Corey was questioned about possessing and possibly sharing, quote, unquote, child pornography. Allegedly, he was threatened that he'd be put on the state's sex offender registry. Then he was left alone to wait for his mother. It does not appear from the evidence that the reporter for the Tribune gathered that there were any pornographic images found on Corey's phone. It did contain the audio file that you just referenced, Amy, of the sexual encounter. Tribune also reporting police did not intend to pursue charges, and they indicated they wanted to handle the matter in a way that Corey understood the seriousness of his actions and how it affected his classmates. This comes from heavily redacted police reports and documents from the DuPage County Coroner's Office that the Tribune obtained. Here's what actually happened after that encounter with police and the dean. Mom was called. While mom was en route, Corey walked out of the school, walked to downtown Naperville, and threw himself off the top of a parking deck.
Mom's a nurse. Left, said, I can get there in 45 minutes. They had her on a speakerphone call and said, this is what the allegations are. And she said her heart just sank because her head was spinning. This was a lot to process.
I got a phone call from the Dean Madden. I was like, wait. I said, my head is spinning right now. I need to be there in person. I need to be there with Corey, and I need to hear what's going on. So when they said he left, I said, well, he must have thought he could go back to class. And they said, no, we made it very clear that he was supposed to stay right here. Where is he? Have you checked in the classroom? Is he in the class? Did he go back to class? And that's when they start, what class would he be in right now? And they start looking through, and then they call the class. So I got the impression they hadn't started looking for him. The police report says otherwise. It says that they had started looking for him before I got there.
Well, his backpack was still there with the keys to the house in there, so they know that he wasn't going home, and he left the school.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Does Naperville North and the Naperville Police Department, do they collectively bear any responsibility for this young man tragically taking his life? I'll add this addition, which was properly covered by the Tribune. Illinois law requires police to, quote, immediately make a reasonable attempt to notify the parent, unquote, immediately, after a minor is taken into custody. What is custody? Good question. Unless a juvenile believes he is free to stop the questioning and walk out of the room, according to Northwestern University law professor Sheila Betty, he is considered to be in police custody. There's no question his parents should have been called, said that Northwestern law professor. The clear intent of the law is to give a parent the opportunity to intervene if their child is being interrogated. And I would suggest that if you're, number one, asking questions about the encounter in question, and number two, and this is alleged, but making threats about ending up on the sex offender registry list, then you're in a custodial interrogation.
Yeah, but here's the bottom line. They had no intention of ever charging him. They were trying to scare him straight. I think they were abusing their power, like being the big guys, bullying this kid, saying, look, this is what could happen. And I understand that, but we trust our kids with our teachers. And they took advantage of the situation. And I think that they have blood on their hands because they scared him to death. Instead, he left the building. He went and he committed suicide within less than an hour.
Naperville Police Chief Robert Marshall called Corey's death a tragedy, but he said the officer who questioned him acted properly. This is the police chief. At the time of the incident, the police department determined that the school resource officer followed proper policies and procedures. Not surprisingly, Naperville District 203 also defended their handling, saying at the outset of this incident, we worked to ensure a thorough and fair review of the facts and involve the appropriate school and law enforcement officials. Our main concern with any matter involving students is fairness, discretion, and objectivity. The school district feels confident we handle this issue appropriately and engage the right officials pursuant to the protocols and procedures that govern student affairs. Now, there is the issue on the school side of state mandates on principals and other persons in charge of school districts in terms of how to handle these situations. The failure to call mom or dad right away, I think, is a problem.
Yeah.
And then the larger, so that's a short-term legal problem. I think the larger problem here in this discussion, and it has to be a part of it, is the absolute lack of judgment by adults in charge of institutions like schools and police departments. We have rules. We don't have judgments. And we have procedures and protocols. We don't have any judgment, any common sense, any decency in some respects, because I can't be decent to you because the rules say this. This is not to say lawlessness and everybody just does what they want, makes up their own rules.
Right, but sometimes there's youthful indiscretion. I mean, there's mistakes that teenagers make. He was allegedly with his 16-year-old girlfriend. He's 16, his girlfriend's 16.
Mm-hmm.
And this came about because the 16-year-old girlfriend or friend had heard about that he was showing it to other people,
right,
or having them listen to it, and she was mortified. So.
Yeah, and so here's the thing about rules and policies and procedures. They cannot account for everything in the world that might happen, for every situation you may have to deal with as a school resource officer, as a principal, as a campus dean. So when does adult judgment come into play, and how should we hold people accountable for judgments they make? Following the rules, does that absolve you of any culpability, moral or legal? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. If this was your child, what would you do?
Well, then it gets worse, and I think everyone needs to hear this, because this woman who brought him into this world was denied being with him when he left this world.
I don't know if at that point, I think at that point he said had jumped or fallen from the top of a parking garage, and there they're working on him now. They're on their way to the hospital. At this point, I didn't know he was alive or not, but I just knew he was dead. I just knew it. And I just kept saying that over and over again to Officer Hoying. I just know he's dead. I just know he's dead. I know it. I know it. I was right there by the parking garage. I could have ridden in the ambulance with him. And he wasn't declared dead until he got to the hospital. The doctor told me that he was still breathing, and the coroner's report said when he landed he was still breathing. They inserted a chest tube. They were doing CPR on him. But by the time I got there, probably about an hour later.
See, so she kept asking, "Where's my son?" They said, "No, ma'am, please come back to the school." And they demanded. The police officer told her, "Come back to the school," and she said, "Well, I want to know where he is." And if you would have just told her the truth, he jumped. He's in an ambulance. He's 5 blocks away from you. She just wanted to be there with him when he transitioned, and that they denied her that too.
Was this a criminal matter? When we grew up, this would have been a matter between the school and the parents of the children involved. Is this a law enforcement matter? Another question to ponder. Let's take some calls. Charlotte in Arlington Heights, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning. Say, I seem to remember a double standard. If a pregnant minor girl were, if she were pregnant and told a counselor she planned to get an abortion, would the counselor be required to tell the parents?
Okay, right. Thanks for the call, Charlotte. Maddie in Forest Park.
Orland Park. Good morning.
Orland Park, sorry.
I do believe that the school, there's going to be a really fine line on laying out the timeline and all of that. I do believe that they should have told Mom so she could have gone there. But I think because he was a great student, he was the all-around athlete. I read the article. The night before, they talked about college.
Yeah.
I think that's what pushed him to suicide because, at that point, a 16-year-old, their processing is not the logic that we use. All he could see was how he was destroying his own reputation and the reputation of his family. What would his parents think? How could he show his face at school? And I think that being a good kid is what pushed him over the edge.
Well, that's perhaps right. Thanks for the call, Maddie. I mean, that's sort of one of the points here is that kind of intimidating, if you will. You're going to be on the sex offender registry list. You're basically...
His life's over. I mean, you're not going to get into University of Minnesota or University of Iowa with child pornography charge and on a registered sex offender list.
And to Maddie's point, this is why 16-year-olds aren't in charge of schools. This is why 16-year-olds are not treated as of age, is because they don't process things the same way, is because they don't have the same...
Because they're minors.
Because they're not intellectually developed, because they don't have the same skill sets, because they do things that are rash and intemperate. They make mistakes like we all did when we were 16. So we can go back and say, should he have recorded that encounter with his girlfriend or this girl at school? No, of course not.
It's a two-party consent state, but that's a separate issue.
Well, come on.
Well, I mean, you can't secretly record people.
The bottom line is this. Should he have engaged in the sexual encounter? No. Should he have recorded the sexual encounter? No. Is the response to that proportional? That's the question. And the answer is no. David in Naperville.
Yeah, I don't know that that's the question, but I think
it is.
A couple of things. First, just hear me then. First of all, you can't interrogate a 16-year-old without the parents there. That's a big issue.
Yes.
Big issue. And I'm not going to pretend I'm a police officer, so I'm not going to like they pretended they were psychologists and practicing without a license. But I don't think that the law states that 16 and 16 is child pornography or anything like that. I think there's a 5-year age difference for all that in Illinois. But you really can't just go in there and pretend you're going to scare this kid when you don't know what you're doing. Because like Amy said, you don't know how the kid's going to react because they don't have the experience. They're just police officers. Honestly, they're just police officers. And they made so many mistakes. And the bottom line is somebody's little boy's dead. And it's just unbelievable. My wife and I just can't get over this.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, David. That's right. I agree with that.
And do you remember hearing about this story when it happened?
I remember hearing about the suicide or his death. I didn't know the backstory.
So horrific.
I did not know the
Throw
backstory.
yourself off a 5-story building.
Robert in Northbrook.
Yeah, the point is what that gentleman just said. You bring in the parents first.
Yeah.
The parents have to be there. No one defended the kid. He's just in there getting the heck beat out of him, scared beyond belief. And you have to remember where our society is now. Right now, if my son wants to be a girl, he can go into the girl's bathroom, vice versa. So didn't our own society bring this upon ourselves?
Excellent.
I mean, think about it. You can't get federal funding unless if you're a girl, and then you're going to be a boy, you're a girl, you can go into the shower room. So at what point does society go, whoa, we got to rethink this?
Thanks for the call, Robert. Here's the other thing about this is the campus dean that was in the room. I don't know what he did or didn't do, so I'm just going to suggest that this is something he should have done, and he may have. When the police officer is threatening him, if that's what's alleged, if that actually happened, where's the campus dean to step in and say, wait, hey, let's just wait until mom gets here. She's going to be here in 15 minutes. Let's wait till mom gets here. I want mom present before we start making any assertions about what is going to happen or not happen to Corey. Brandon and Mantino, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. My name's Brandon. My son had committed suicide just a few months ago, and as a result of that, we started a foundation where our goal is to educate law enforcement and educators on how to handle kids in crisis. And in this situation, it's clear that these two people, the police liaison officer, school liaison officer, and the dean, were not prepared to handle somebody in crisis. Matter of fact, they made the situation even worse by threatening the student and actually causing the crisis. I've worked in law enforcement for 20-plus years, and there's no reason ever to have to actually threaten a student to get an answer for questions like this. They should have been able to sit down with that student and have a real discussion with them, and they should have done it with the parents present. It's a shame what happened here, and it just all comes down to education and training.
Thanks for the call, Brandon. I'm very sorry about your son, but I appreciate that perspective, that informed perspective. And it's something, Brandon brings up something too. Remember what the courts have also held about schools, that students have fewer rights in a school setting because administrators have a legitimate need to maintain the learning environment. So in other words, they have wide berth to say, give me your cell phone. I'm going to look in your locker. Pull that audio file. So why not wait for mom? Michael in Naperville.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, my point would be that the police didn't even know whether or not the kid was guilty of the crime, in that it could have been very feasible that she recorded it on his phone, kind of like as a goofy gift. And then when he started sharing it, that's what made her upset, not the fact that it was recorded.
Yeah.
So the police acted like a judge, jury, and executioner here.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for
when they didn't even know if he was guilty.
Good point.
Yeah, it's fair. Thanks for the call, Michael. Paula in Glendale Heights.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
There's so many people here that failed this poor kid. I'm shocked, though. My 16-year-old, I asked him the other night, I said, son, if you ever wanted to, could you ever leave your high school? He said no.
Yeah.
There are security guards at every single exit. There would be no way. So how on earth did this kid get off the campus?
Yep, that's a great point.
I would shock
especially
to
after
hear
receiving that news.
Thanks for the call, Paula. Yeah, it's a great point in context.
Life-changing accusations against you, and you just walk out.
That's a great point. That's another one of the important questions that needs to be answered. Margot in Burr Ridge.
Yeah, well, lots of studies have shown that young men, in particular, even more than young women, do not develop fully emotionally until age 26. That's why they can't rent a car until age 26 and a few other things. They shouldn't be voting, actually, until age 26. But the point is, these high school administrators are highly paid to understand and know all this. That's why they're called professionals. They should have known that this young man was not fully emotionally developed. I'm not a high school professional, but I know that. And I lay it on their door. I mean, the police have their job to do. But these high school administrators should have been sensitive to this kid's situation and his age and his emotional development.
Thanks for the call, Margot. I mean, and here's the thing. This piece from Psychology Today, Dr. Mary Lamia, who is a psychologist, shame is especially difficult, if not toxic, for children because it is an emotion that is concealed, especially by victims of aggression or abuse. The anticipation of being shamed by peers creates anxiety in a child if he is the object of bullying. And it goes on to talk about the power of shame, which is why it's used as a political tool.
And he was
so
bullied
often.
by adults.
And again,
by adults.
And again, you didn't have to have a psychologist on staff. You didn't have to expect the officer to be a psychologist. You didn't have to expect the campus dean to be a psychologist. You just had to wait for mom. Mike in Melrose Park.
Hi, good morning. Hey, my question is, why was the school involved at all? Likely this did not occur on campus. And why would, it's like something happening at, being interrogated at work for something that didn't happen at work. How did the two blend? Why wasn't he just, if it was so serious, why didn't they just take him to the police station and not have any kind of high school principals involved at all?
Because they just wanted to scare him. They didn't want to charge him.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. According to creditcard.com, cardholders in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan are carrying over $33,000 of debt on their credit cards. The Federal Reserve recently increased the interest rates 1/4 point, which according to credit enhancement expert Gary Novell, will increase the average credit card holder's interest payments $825 a year. The good news is home values have rebounded, so now is an excellent time to use your home's equity to eliminate your stress, pay off credit card debt, and lower your monthly payments. To see if you can use your home's equity to pay off your debt, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Mike Gallagher here with exciting news about Woodfield Nissan. If you've waited to buy your next car, there may never be a better time to buy because Woodfield Nissan is drastically reducing the prices on all their vehicles to make room for incoming inventory. Now, this is your chance to save at least 25% off MSRP on select new Nissans. Every new Nissan is on sale. There's no other Nissan dealer in the Midwest that I recommend. Don't waste your time shopping around. Go to Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates. A huge selection of 2017 Nissan Altimas, Sentras, and Rogues, now available with 0% APR financing for 72 months with no payments for 90 days, and they have a $2,000 Nissan customer cash rebate. Buy your next Nissan at Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates, 2 miles west of the Woodfield Shopping Mall at Gulf and Higgins, or go to woodfieldnissan.com.
Prices are plus tax, title, license, and dock fee, and savings off MSRP is on select models. 0% APR financing is on select models to qualified buyers and is $13.89 per month per $1,000 finance to qualified buyers. Interest may be accrued from date of delivery. 2 or more available with this offer.
I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Here are the stories we're following at this hour. Allstate Arena beefs up security following the Manchester bombing. A minimum wage protest planned this morning in Oak Brook. Leicester and the Cubs down the Giants. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.